Good evening, everybody, and I'm sure all of you are like comfortable, happy, preparing well for the paper. Kind of my all blessings to all of you because पढ़ाई अच्छी करने के लिए अच्छा माहौल, अच्छी तबीयत, अच्छे बहुत सारा आशीर्वाद एंड ऊपर वाले का साथ भी चाहिए. Okay, we want to do many things, but then quite a few times we might not be able to do because of various reasons. So I'm sure all of you are revising your portions well, doing ek, just do one thing for me, if you can do. What you should do, that make it a point that every day you're going to write 10 to 20 questions of AFM just before the dinner. So students keep on calling me and saying that, ma'am, I am just not able to recall questions. मैं भूल जा रहा हूँ, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा. So basically this subject is like that only. You can't help much about that. The only thing that you can do is write daily. If you keep on writing daily a few questions, मतलब जिस चीज़ को दूर नहीं जाने दोगे उसकी याद कैसे आएगी, वो तो कभी तुम भूले ही नहीं ना, ऐसा. Good evening, everybody. Okay, this topic, that advanced capital budgeting, there are a few topics in your portion. For example, the first chapter that we did, that was like quite manageable in terms of length. Okay, it was 10 pages around, or 11 pages or 12 pages, pure theory, no disturbance in between. Okay, we could manage it well. Then risk management, again, 10 pages topic, pure theory topic. I mean, at least for the sake of it, there are a lot of practical questions that we can get from that. But yeah, since we are doing a theory batch, so basically I'm trying to focus on the theory part only. But this topic, advanced capital budgeting, there are few problems with this topic, and the problem is that oh, thank you so much, Viru. Thank you so much. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is that basically, kind of in these kind of topics, we tend to believe that we know everything. We tend to believe that we know everything, but actually we do not know too much of things. Okay, this topic is like that. So there are a lot of topics in this topic. This runs up to 40 pages, but theory is not 40 pages. Like 20 pages is like question and answers only. That should not be a problem. But there are a lot of topics which can be asked in the form of MCQs, in the form of case studies, and hence your preparation will matter a lot. इतना आसान नहीं जाने वाला है ये, मतलब जो टॉपिक अब शुरू होंगे ना तुम्हारे, जैसे एडवांस कैपिटल बजटिंग है, सिक्योरिटी एनालिसिस है, सिक्योरिटी इवैल्यूएशन है, तो ये टॉपिक्स इतने आसान नहीं जाएंगे, क्योंकि तुमको ऐसा लगेगा ना, यू विल फील दैट ओके आई नो दिस टॉपिक, कैपिटल बजटिंग इज ईजी, आई हैव स्टडीड दिस. नो, सो मे बी कई बार क्या होता है, हमारी भूल हो जाती है कि हमें लगता है हमें आता है, बट हमें सच में नहीं आता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू नो सम कैलकुलेशन, बट इफ आई आस्क यू टू राइट इन टर्म्स ऑफ थियरी, मे बी यू विल नॉट एबल टू राइट दैट वे. ओके, सो दिस टॉपिक इज लाइक दैट, बट आई डोंट थिंक दैट शुड बी अ प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. आज अच्छे से करा दूंगी मैं. एंड अगेन आई प्रिपेयर्ड सम केस स्टडीज फॉर यू. यू शुड बी एबल टू आंसर, प्लस ICI क्वेश्चंस ऑल्सो. ओके, yes, yes, good evening, everybody. So everybody is like, well, क्यों अटेंडेंस कम क्यों होने लग गई बच्चों की? अटेंडेंस क्यों कम कर दिया सब बच्चों ने? उनको लगा रिकॉर्डेड तो मिल रहा है तो ठीक है, चलो जाने दो, बाद में आराम से देख लेंगे. ऐसा मत करो. अगर लाइव बैच चल रही है ना तो करके, बिकॉज थियरी है, तुम्हारा मन नहीं करेगा करने का. मैं अपनी तरफ से तुमको बोल रही हूँ, और मुझे भी अच्छा लगेगा अगर तुम, ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि मुझे भी बहुत अच्छा लगेगा तुम सब आओगे तो. एंड मतलब आई वुड लाइक इफ़ यू गाइज अटेंड इन लाइव, द फर्स्ट डे यू अटेंडेड इन लाइव. आई कैन सी ऑल ऑफ यूर वॉचिंग लेटर ऑन द रिकॉर्डेड स्टफ, बट डोंट डू दैट ना. प्लीज़ कम live. Any which ways you have to devote some amount of time for that. So please come, and please don't forget to like, what else? Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and do comments also. Okay, because this is one thing I have to learn to speak again and again. That's what my team has suggested me, so I'll keep on doing that. Please don't get irritated. This is not natural to me. Okay. Hi Ria. Hi. Okay, chalo, let's not waste time. Let's start. Okay, so how they start? First of all, how they start? Hello, 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 everybody. हाँ, like, share, subscribe, please. This is not natural to me. I am a live teacher. I'm not naturally a YouTuber, so I am getting into the groove. I'm learning few things for good. So I'm sure all of you guys will support me, cooperate with me. Please attend live. It's a humble request. मुझे अच्छा लगेगा, तुम्हारा भी पढ़ना तो है तुम्हें, ऐसा नहीं कि तुम्हें पढ़ना नहीं है, पढ़ना तो है ही ना तुम्हें, तो पढ़ लो ना, मेरे साथ में पढ़ लो, तो हमें अच्छा लगेगा, नहीं कम्युनिटी बन जाएगी तुम्हारी हमारी, ठीक है? चलो स्टार्ट. वी आर नॉट वेस्टिंग टाइम एट ऑल. ओके, स्टार्ट. So how they start, as I have been telling again and again in every topic. Now gear up, okay? Big topic, it will take some time. Every day we were able to complete in 1.5 hours. Today you will not be able to complete in 1.5 hours. It will go mostly up to 2 hours. Okay, that should not bother you. Thank you, Nitin. Thank you so much. I don't take it like that. I'm not doing any obligation on you guys. I'm just doing my job, whatever I can do. Okay. See, the thing is that I try to do maximum for the students who have enrolled with Khetan Education. But in the meanwhile, I also think that any student outside who says ma'am to me, ma'am, तो वो बच्चा ही हो गया, अपना ही बच्चा हो गया, लिया नहीं लिया कहीं और से लिया, उससे क्या ही फ़र्क पड़ता, मुझे उतना दिमाग में फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. तो मैं सोचती हूँ अपने बच्चों के लिए मैं करूँगी, जिन्होंने एनरोल किया है तो बाकी लोग भी कर लेंगे, क्या हो जाएगा, उससे फ़र्क तो नहीं पड़ जाएगा, राइट? तो इट्स ओके, डजंट. एंड इट इज़ इन अ वे, आई टेल यू वेरी फ्रैंकली, लेट मी वेरी बी कैंडिड. In today's time, there is no other way of telling people that, okay, I teach good. I am a seasoned teacher of 17 years and I have taught 40,000 students of CA final. That's my legacy. I am one of the most senior faculty in the whole of the industry of CA final. I'm teaching 17 years, 17 सालों से पढ़ा रही हूँ, नया नहीं पढ़ा रही मैं. Okay. ओके, चलो डन, लेट्स स्टार्ट. सो दे से हाउ दे स्टार्ट, पहले सुनना है, आंख बंद करके सुनो ध्यान से, उसके बाद वी कैन गो अहेड. सो हाउ दे स्टार्ट, दे से दैट इन CA इंटर व्हेन यू, आई विल स्टिक टू द मॉड्यूल लैंग्वेज. I can speak on this topic for 24 hours at a stretch. Nothing can stop me on that. I can speak actually. I have the ability to speak on any topic for any number of hours. But will it help? No. So let's stick to the module language as much possible. I cannot mug up the whole content, but yeah, I can definitely reproduce 70-80% of what is written in the book. If I reproduce the same language, maybe you will be able to reproduce again the 50%. So our job is done finally. Okay? Okay, ठीक है, चलेगा. Okay, चलो start. So they mentioned, they start the topic like this, that in CA Inter, we did not talk anything about risk. But in the old curriculum, I know that there was a topic called risk management separately. But ठीक है, whatever is written, let's follow that. So in CA Inter, they say that at basic level, they mean to say that we were not talking about risk too much actually. Okay, but that doesn't mean that projects do not have risk. Projects definitely have risk. And I tell you the reason, they have not written this part. Projects have risk because they involve a huge amount of investment, one shot, but the inflows come very slowly in installments and they are spread across the future actually. And that is why projects or capital budgeting is mainly with respect to the long-term investment. ये मैं अपने मन से बोल रही हूँ, यहाँ लिखा हुआ नहीं है, ठीक है? तो क्यों रिस्क है? बिकॉज इट इज रिलेटेड टू फ्यूचर एंड फ्यूचर इज अनसर्टन. दैट इज वाई. ओके, सो दे स्टार्टेड saying that we at inter level we did not like learn to calculate risk and all about the projects, but projects do get affected with some factors. Okay, very very important word. They get affected by some factors. Number one, inflation. Capital appraisal must be done in the light of inflation. Number two, technological factors. And number three, change in the government policies. So these three are the important factors which do affect capital appraisal. Okay, or you should consider while picking up the projects for that matter. Okay, are you done, guys? Chalo, start. I'll read with you that also. So maybe okay, while discussing the capital budgeting or investment evaluation techniques at intermediate, we will not read that. However, in practice, the assumption is not correct. In fact, investment projects are exposed to various types of factors, some of which are as follows: inflation, change in technology, and change in government policy. So please remember, three most important factors which affect capital budgeting is number one, inflation, then changes in the technology, and changes in the government policy. Now we'll have to discuss each one of them in lots and lots of detail. Okay, the first one, impact of inflation on capital budgeting. Be very, very careful. Few sentences from my side, few sentences what they have given in the book. Okay, so now they say that it is very, very important to adjust your revenues and cost, okay, with respect to inflation. Because why? Because it will increase your revenues and cost. The net revenues adjusted for inflation will coincide with the करंट नेट रेवेन्यूज. समझा क्या बोल रहा है? वो ये बोल रहे हैं कि अगर तुम इन्फ्लेशन एडजस्ट नहीं करोगे तो तुम्हारी जो वैल्यू है तुम्हारे कैश फ्लोज की या नेट रेवेन्यूज की, वो आज को रिप्रेजेंट नहीं करेगी. दे आर ट्राइंग टू से दैट if you adjust inflation, the revenues and the cost will increase, and a result of that, the inflation adjusted net revenues would represent the current net revenues. If you do not adjust inflation in your revenues and cost, your cash flows would be lower. But there are a few problems with this. Ma'am, what problem? The problem is that two things cannot be adjusted for inflation. Number one, depreciation. Number two, tax rate. Why? Because the depreciation is based on the historical cost of any asset, and that is why the depreciation amount that you take in your P&L statement, though it is not a cash outflow, and that is why we definitely deduct depreciation in our P&L, but while you are preparing your cash flow, you add it back. The only idea behind is that you are trying to take the tax benefit out of that डिडक्शन. एक्चुअली आई होप यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. कहने का ये मतलब हुआ, डेप्रिसिएशन से पैसे सच में बाहर नहीं जाते, बट डेप्रिसिएशन को जब तुम माइनस करते हो तो टैक्सेबल इनकम कम हो जाती है, और डेप्रिसिएशन का अमाउंट इनटू टैक्स रेट के जितना पैसा टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट को जाने से बच जाता है, और उससे तुम्हारा कैश फ्लो इंक्रीज कर जाता है. दैट इज द ओनली रीजन ऑफ डिडक्टिंग डेप्रिसिएशन इन योर P&L स्टेटमेंट, एटलीस्ट थियोरेटिकली. Okay, and that is why you can prepare cash flows or adjust depreciation in two ways. How? Look at that. Okay, look at this. So case 1, case 2. Okay, so EBDIT, suppose 100, then 100, and then less depreciation is suppose 10. We do not deduct here dash, and you get maybe EBIT is 90 and it is 100, then tax at the rate of 50%. Okay, so this is 45 and this is 50, and then you have 45 and this is 50. Okay, I hope you're getting the point. Okay, add back depreciation, that is 10, that makes it 55. So यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? यहाँ पे तुम क्या करोगे? DTS 10 into 50% tax is equal to 5. Add 5, you get 55. So either go by method number 1 or go by method number 2. Your cash flow will be 55. Exactly my point. So that is what they have written. Look at this. Revenue minus cost minus depreciation, 1 minus T plus depreciation. The first method. Revenue minus cost, remove the tax and add back the depreciation tax shield, and you get the same answer. Okay, so this is the impact. Again, I am repeating for you, what is the impact of inflation? If you adjust inflation, then your revenues and cost will increase. As a result of that, your inflation adjusted net revenues would be equal to the current net revenues. Okay, but there is some distortion with respect to this concept, because depreciation is based on historical cost, because I mean depreciation is calculated on your the cost that you have taken or booked in your books, okay, while adding it to the block. Basically it is not inflation adjusted, so that is a kind of distortion actually. Okay, so they might be if they ask you something, you can write towards that, but I'm sure guys, your guys are smart to write what is supposed to be written there, what is not supposed to be written. Just मैं जब बोल रही हूँ ये बातें ना, तो सिर्फ ये ध्यान रखो कि 2-3 पॉइंट भी अगर दिमाग में सेट हो गया तो वहाँ पे लिख लोगे, वरना लिखना मुश्किल हो जाएगा. One very important point coming up, I'll take from the book also, don't worry. One very important coming up is that, listen to me carefully, nominal cash flows must be discounted with nominal KC or discounting factor. Real cash flows must be discounted with real KC in order to have मैथमेटिकल कंपैटिबिलिटी. समझा क्या मैंने क्या बोला? मैं ये बोल रही हूँ कैश फ्लोज अगर इन्फ्लेशन एडजस्टेड हैं तो तुम्हारी डिस्काउंटिंग फैक्टर भी इन्फ्लेशन एडजस्टेड ही होनी चाहिए. अगर तुम्हारे कैश फ्लोज में इन्फ्लेशन नहीं है तो तुम्हारा डिस्काउंटिंग फैक्टर भी इन्फ्लेशन एडजस्टेड नहीं होना चाहिए. देयर कैन नॉट बी अ मिसमैच. इट विल लीड टू रॉन्ग आंसर्स. ओके, mostly by default, underline my words, by default your KC will always be nominal, means inflation adjusted, and hence if they give you a question wherein they have given you real cash flows and they've given you the inflation rate in the question, make your real cash flows nominal by adjusting the inflation and then use the nominal KC to discount and compute the NPV. Okay, correct. Guys, are you all fine? Please tell me. Okay, so inflation, it is written that adjustment for inflation is a necessity for capital investment appraisal. This is because inflation will raise the revenues and cost of the project. The net revenues after adjustment for inflation shall be equal to the net revenues in current terms. Okay, then depreciation charges are based on historical cost. Very good. Tax benefits accruing from depreciation charges do not keep up parity with the inflation. Very, very good. Okay. So as annual after tax cash inflows of project is equal to, so this is method number 1 and this is method number 2. So they've given some example. I'm not getting into the examples, guys, that you can focus because we have to focus on the theory part. Now, cost of capital are considered for investment appraisal contain a premium for anticipated inflation. Due to inflation, investors require nominal rate of return to be equal to. Look at this. So basically, they mean to say that a KC has got 3 components. Okay, this is called real RF, then inflation premium. Okay, so basically, they are not talking about that this thing actually. So real RF plus inflation premium will make it to like nominal RF. This is nominal RF and this is risk premium. So depend करता तुम क्या बात कर रहे हो, right? So basically these 3 are all together. So basically they are talking about this one actually. This one actually. Okay, so be very, very careful while you are answering the questions actually. So required rate of return for the nominal investors, required rate of return in the real terms, okay, and anticipated inflation rate. So when they're talking about this, they are basically trying to tell that, guys, are you getting मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? तुमको समझ आ रहा है मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? मैं कह रही हूँ कि any rate for that matter, KC or ROR, will consist of 3. There are 3 things which are there in an interest rate or ROR or anything. One is a real RF. What is real RF? The rate at which your GDP is growing. Okay. Then number 2, if there is some inflation component in your country, then you must be compensated for that. अगर suppose करो that the inflation rate in India is 5%. So your money becoming 100 to 105, you are at par. You have not earned anything extra. Okay, and if your GDP growth rate is 6%, then you have to minimum earn 11%. You have to minimum earn 11%. Okay, that means if you are earning 11%, your real earning is only 6% because 5% will only make you at par with the inflation rate. Purchasing power parity equal. Okay, but here it is talking something extra. This R represents this, and P represents inflation. Be very careful. So they are saying that your nominal cash flows must be discounted with the inflation. Nominal means inflation adjusted. Real means without inflation. Careful. Okay, so this is done, guys. Okay, next one I'm coming up. So there is a lot of practical content also. So if you understand the theory part, it will be very, very easy for you to understand the practical part also. It is only that when you don't understand the concepts properly, you are not able to crack the questions also. So it is very important. Okay, impact of change in technology on capital budgeting decisions. Listen to me first, uske baad we'll go through that. Just close your eyes, relax, somebody is helping you. Got it. Very good. Exactly, exactly. Okay. So impact of change in the technology on capital budgeting decision. Okay. So they are saying, very Shanti se sunna, ठीक है? They say that it's a huge paragraph actually. Okay, I'll speak the whole of it. 80% I will reproduce because I have got a very strong photogenic memory, in the sense that if you give me something to read, if I read 2 times, it is almost like mugged up for me. Not 100%, but yeah, when I used to be like very young like you, it used to be quite a lot, but I think with times, this slightly it has gone down, but it is okay. But yet, still I think if I go through something, I've got a very, very, very strong photogenic memory. If you show me something, I never forget somebody's face, something written, numbers, I don't forget. So it's a gift. I don't know. Any which ways. So impact of change in technology on capital budgeting decision. What they have written, you can look on the board and listen to me. Okay, they say that while you are evaluating a project, मैं story के जैसे बोलूँगी, सुनो आँख बंद करके, ठीक है? While you are evaluating a project, people usually focus on the monetary appraisal or quantitative values of the project. Means how much will be the NPV, positive or positive or negative or something like that. ठीक? You are not focused. They are saying that first 2 lines, okay? They are saying that while we are analyzing a project, okay, we tend to focus only on the quantitative part, on the monetary values, but there are some critical factors like qualitative factors, like change in the technology, that must be considered while evaluating a project. What do you mean by that, ma'am? That means we are not saying that, okay, we need to replace a project, please replace with a high technology machine. No, we are not saying that. We are trying to say that while you are evaluating a project, you should try to analyze the impact of the change and the risk of the change in the technology in your capital budgeting decision. अगर नहीं समझा तो फिर से बोल रही हूँ. I am trying to say that कि जब आप प्रोजेक्ट को अप्रेज करोगे ना, तो आप सिर्फ उसकी क्वांटिटेटिव इवैल्यूएशन मत करो, एनपीवी कितना होगा, आईआरआर कितना होगा. नो, some more factors are important while you are analyzing a project. Like what? Like the change and the risks of the change in technology. Okay? तो जब ये कह रहे हो तो अच्छा ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं है, हम एक काम करते हैं, इस मशीन को हटाओ और हाई टेक्नोलॉजी वाली मशीन से उसको रिप्लेस कर दो. नहीं, we are not saying that. We are saying that when you are evaluating that project or capital budgeting decision, you should incorporate that. It's a long-term decision. Okay, so what effect can it create if there are major changes in the technology once you have started the project? Because change in technology can alter the production process. Point number 1, look at the board. Okay, point number 2, it can reduce the cost of capital. It can help you increase in the cash flows. It can change the quality of the product, your delivery system, and the flexibility. It can involve investment in terms of the cost. देखो यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है क्या? Generally, it has been observed that those making capital budgeting decision evaluate. जब मैं बोलती हूँ ना, when I speak, तब तुम मेरी बात आंख बंद करके सुना करो. ओके, तो नई बातें दिमाग में गई तुम्हारे. और जब मैं रीड करती हूँ ना यहाँ पे, when I read this, it will help you settle down. Because by that way, at least we are doing 3 times. Why? I speak at least 2 times and the third one is reading this. Okay. Proposal in monetary terms, quantitative. बहुत अच्छा. Quantitative values, and normally fails to consider the critical factors, that is qualitative factor that can affect the future cash flows, and one such factor is technology. Okay, it is important to note that here we are not simply talking about decision to replace the existing machinery with a new machine having improved technology. Rather, we are talking about the impact of technology change on capital budgeting. Change in technology can significantly alter the production process. Very, very important. Guys, if you are able to recall 5 also, you are sorted in the exam. Okay. So first one, Change can also yield benefits such as improved quality, delivery time, and greater flexibility. Okay, point number 2. It can reduce the reduction in the cost of capital. This also we spoke. Improved cash inflows can be achieved. This also improved cash flows. Very, very important keyword. There may be need to incur, but if you are changing the technology, if you are incorporating the idea of the change of the technology, it will incur some amount of cost for you. Okay, in the form of additional expenditure, but that would be a trade-off. If you do not change, what will be the effect on the cash flows? And if you change, then what will be the effect on the cash flows? That trade-off, that appraisal, that analysis we have to do. Okay, and this is done. So can you speak with me, guys? Okay, what did I say? I said that you do not have to focus only on the quantitative factors like NPV, IRR and all that. We should focus on the qualitative factors like technology, because these are the factors. Okay, number 1, increase in the cash flows, reduce in the cost of capital, then increase in the quality and the delivery time and all that, and then change the production process, and it will also involve some amount of investment. The sale volume can be impacted as a, even if you are, देखो कुछ पॉइंट्स ऐसे होंगे ना जो तुमको कतई याद नहीं आने वाले पेपर में. करेक्ट. थैंक यू. आई एम नॉट द बेस्ट अर्पित, आई एम नॉट द बेस्ट. ओके, सो एक बात का ध्यान रखना, ऐसा पॉइंट को तुम दिमाग में लाओ ही मत जो तुमको कतई याद नहीं आने वाला. मैंने याद पूरा किया था, बट मुझे लास्ट वाला नहीं याद आया ना. मैं क्लियरली बोल रही हूँ, मैं इंसान हूँ ना, मैं भगवान जी थोड़ी हूँ कोई. मैं तो कोशिश कर रही हूँ और तुमसे कोशिश करा रही हूँ. आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू maximize, making you maximize in your efforts and everything. So there is a strategy that you have to follow. If you have got 6 points, no, then the point which is very irritating in nature, leave it, because that one irritating point will make you forget all the other points. That's a technique of remembering theory. Guys, I don't know how many of you know this or not. I am an arts graduate. I've done my graduation in history, political science and economics. So शायद theory याद करने की एक टेक्निक होती है, वो तुमको मतलब as of today I tell myself a practical teacher, because I feel I am very good in practicals, and numbers can just like I can just play with the numbers, but theory has been my background actually. So always remember not to mug up a point which will spoil the whole game. So leave it, it's okay, completely okay. Okay, हो जाएगी. पूजा सिंह मैम, हमको भी ऐसी मेमोरी होती तो अच्छा होता. हो जाएगी, वो तो मेहनत कर करके हो गई, भगवान जी थोड़ी देते हैं, वो कर करके हो जाएगी तुम्हारी. ओके, नाउ ये पार्ट हो गया. सो हमको वी हैव टू फोकस ऑन द क्वालिटेटिव फैक्टर्स, नॉट क्वांटिटेटिव फैक्टर्स. व्हाट अफेक्ट कैन टेक्नोलॉजी क्रिएट? दिस पार्ट इज डन. नाउ द सेकेंड पैराग्राफ. Correct. Now, what I'm saying is that the second part, this whole part is telling you something. What is this? Okay, so what is this part? This part is saying that how to incorporate, okay, technology in capital budgeting process. These are two different things actually. If you understand properly, these two paragraphs are different. In the first paragraph, they say that quantitative, qualitative, and here only they told about technology and benefits. Okay, benefit. In the second part, they are saying how to incorporate technology in capital budgeting process. This is the second question. So iske bare mein bhi we have to discuss. Now they are saying that the capital budgeting, the technology part can be incorporated in the whole of the capital budgeting process while analyzing the project. Okay, so they have given some points here, guys, that when you are going to launch a project, suppose for example, point number 1, okay, when you are going to launch a particular project, okay, you should try to incorporate the risks of the change in the technology with the help of sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis, I'll explain, don't worry, and simulation. Point number 2, when you have already launched the project, 3 things are coming here. Number 1, while you are still analyzing, okay, a capital budgeting thing, then you have already launched, Number 3, it is becoming unviable and so on. So listen to me, this is again a bit टेक्निकल, बट आ जाएगा समझ में. मैं हिंदी में समझाऊंगी तब बिल्कुल समझ में आ जाएगा. पहले मुझे इंग्लिश बोलने दो. ओके, सो how can you incorporate technology in the capital budgeting process? Point number 1, how would you imagine when we start, then how to think about technology? Now the project is already launched, then what to think about the technology? Not working, what to think about the technology, like that. So I'll start point number 1. When I start analyze, I have not started the project yet, okay? So when I start analyzing the project, we should anticipate the risks of the change in the technology with the help of sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis, and simulation. Point number 1. Point number 2, the project is already launched now. Okay, so once the project has been already launched, okay, you need to, what do you see? Point number 1. Okay, so we have to check on the what impact will it, if suppose the technology has changed, what impact can it create, both positive and negative? We need to revise those in terms of monetary terms. Okay, समझ आ रहा है मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? मैं कह रही हूँ कि जब आपने प्रोजेक्ट शुरू नहीं किया तो तुमको ये पता है कि भाई ये प्रोजेक्ट हम लॉन्च करेंगे ना, तो इसमें बीच में कहीं टेक्नोलॉजी का चेंज का प्रॉब्लम आएगा, तो तुम अभी उसको क्या करो कि तुम उसको सिनेरियो एनालिसिस, सिमुलेशन एंड सेंसिटिविटी एनालिसिस की हेल्प से ट्राई करो देखने का कि ये हमारे लिए कितना रिस्क क्रिएट करेगा बाद में जा करके. चलो हमने लॉन्च कर दिया. लॉन्च करने के बाद सपोज देयर इज अ चेंज इन द टेक्नोलॉजी, देन ट्राई टू सी द इम्पैक्ट ऑन द मॉनेटरी वैल्यूज, बोथ पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव, इफ यू ट्राई टू invest in the technology. Number 3, suppose it becomes unviable, then is there some abandonment option available to you? And number 4, you should try to incorporate this risk in the discounting factor. Are you good, guys? Are you good? All of you, please tell me. देखो यहाँ पढ़ती हूँ तब ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा तुमको. कुछ some theories are like that. I can't help too much about that, but still I'm just trying my best. Now next question arises, how to incorporate impact in capital budgeting decision? For this purpose, it is very necessary that once the project has been launched, it should be reviewed on a continuous basis. If required, it needs to be revised in the light of the changes in the technology. The various ways in which the impact of change of technology can be incorporated. This is the most important line now. At the time of making capital budgeting decision, the risk of change in the technology should be considered using sensitivity analysis. I mean, if there is some change of is, are, am, the, they will not cancel your marks. More important is perfect Chandan, perfect. Scenario analysis and simulation analysis. This is before you launch the project. Then number 2, once the project has been launched, analyze the impact of the change in technology, both positive and negative. Revise estimates in monetary terms. Means if we suppose somebody says that okay, we'll have to use this technology, but you will definitely try to check na ki what impact will it create in terms of monetary values, both positive and negative. Okay, if continuation of the project is proving to be unviable, then look for the abandonment option. 4, and the last one is suitably adjusting the discount rate. You have to incorporate that risk of the change in technology in the discounting factor. Would you speak with me? Number 1, while you launch the project, you will have to check the impact of the technology with the help of, even if 4-5 वर्ड भी इधर हो गए ना तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं होने वाली है. वो 2-3 वर्ड भी तुमने लिख दिया, तुमको नंबर पूरे आ जाएंगे. Scenario, simulation and sensitivity. Number 2, once you have launched the project, then you'll have to check the impact of the technology in terms of monetary values, both positive and negative. Number 3, if the project is becoming unviable because of the technology, then look for the abandonment option. Number 4, adjust to discounting factor. And we are done, guys, on that part. Now, impact of change in the government policies on capital budgeting decision. Now again, listen to me now. It's a big paragraph again. So what will be the change of the impact of change in the government policy? Paragraph by paragraph I will speak, and मैं वहाँ पे short words देखने वाली हूँ because वो मुझे याद है पूरा. सबसे पहली बात, it is very, whenever you start a project, it is very important that government policies cannot be ignored. You have to make them as an integral part of your capital budgeting process. Okay, it is not necessary that it will affect your project directly, but it can also affect your project indirectly. Like it can affect your buyers, it can affect your suppose your consumer, your supplier, or some people who are related to you. So ultimately you will get affected directly or indirectly. The first paragraph. Okay, then they are saying that the effect of the government policy can be positive or negative. Okay, the how it can be positive or how it can be negative we'll discuss later on, but as of now what I am trying to tell you is that it is not important, again the same line, it is not important that whether the effect is positive or negative. More important is that you need to identify and analyze what effect can it create on your project later on. It can be read under two headings: impact on the domestic capital budgeting and the international. The fourth paragraph says that, I'll repeat the whole thing again, relax, just abhi suno pehle. The fourth paragraph says that, guys, they are saying that there can be two types of government policies. One which is like applicable for long term, like the industrial policy of like 1991. Okay, and there are some which are like short term, which will affect you in the short term, like quarterly or yearly, like fiscal policies and monetary policies. So वापस से if I start and if you ask me, ma'am, please summarize. So I can summarize this. Government policies affect directly or indirectly. Means it can affect you directly or indirectly. If not directly, it can affect to the people who are working with you. Okay. Then in the second paragraph, they are saying that important to consider the effect. Okay. Correct. So they have, in the third paragraph, they are saying that it can be with respect to the domestic capital budgeting decision or international capital budgeting decision. So this is one paragraph done. This is second. मैं वापस से आऊँगा, don't worry. This third paragraph done. Then they are saying that there could be some long term or it could be short term. For example, they have written one example that the industrial policy of 1991. So this wherein India went completely global. The globalization thing came at that point of time and it affected a lot of industries for that matter. So these kind of government policies will affect you for a longer period and they are not changed on a daily basis. But there are policies like fiscal policy and monetary policies which are changed maybe like every quarter or every year for that matter. So depending on the type of business you are into, you have to, कहने का क्या मतलब है पता है क्या? वो लोग क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं? वो लोग ये कह रहे हैं कि बॉस, तुम अगर कैपिटल बजटिंग कर रहे हो ना, तो तुमको गवर्नमेंट की जो पॉलिसी है, ओके, उसको कंसिडर करते हुए ही तुमको सब कुछ डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा. तुम उससे स्टैंड अलोन बेसिस पे चीज़ों को डिसाइड नहीं कर सकते. कुछ चीज़ें लॉन्ग टर्म होंगी, कुछ चीज़ें शॉर्ट टर्म होंगी. देख लो ना तुम कौन से बिजनेस के अंदर में हो और तुमको कौन सी पॉलिसी कितना ज़्यादा किस इंटेंसिटी में अफेक्ट करेगी. यही सारी बातें हो रही है. मैं सेंस लाइक it comes out better when you speak in Hindi, but then yeah, I have promised all of you to speak in English, so I'll speak a lot in English only. So the first paragraph told you that it might affect you directly or it might affect you indirectly. When I say indirectly, I mean to say it can affect the people whom you are dealing with, like buyers, customers, service providers, and so on. In the second paragraph, they are saying that the impact of the government policy can be positive or it can be negative. It is not important whether it is positive or negative. It is more important to think that government policies cannot be ignored. You have to consider them while you are analyzing any project. The third paragraph says that you will be analyzing the effect of the government policy in terms of domestic capital budgeting decision and international capital budgeting decision. Paragraph number 3. Paragraph number 4 says, then again the government policies could be long term or short term. Depends. So long term, then short term. Okay, in the long term, the broad policies like industrial policy of 1991, short term fiscal and monetary policy. Now, what is fiscal policy? I'm talking about this. What is fiscal policy and what is monetary policy? If you know at all about fiscal policy is about government revenues, then government government revenues, government spending, and government borrowing, which will affect the overall aggregate demand, aggregate output of the economy. समझ में आ रहा मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? Fiscal deficit जानते हो क्या? So depending on the fiscal policy, what is decided, government revenues are decided, government spending is decided, government taxation, accordingly the government will tax your cash flows and all that. And that is why fiscal policy will directly or indirectly affect your cash flows for that matter. Because suppose, for example, government is facing a lot of fiscal deficit, what will it do? It will start printing notes. As a result of printing the notes, what will happen? The inflation will increase. And if the inflation increase, the interest rates will increase. Then again, in order to control that inflation, what will the government do? It will increase interest rate so that the spending goes down and all that, blah blah blah. I'm not going to get into that detail. The only thing that you should know, that what are the ingredients of the fiscal policy. The ingredients are the government revenues, government spending, because if the government is spending more, it will have to borrow. Okay, government borrowing, which will lead to the which will affect the economic growth, aggregate output, employment, and stability of the economy. Then they're talking about monetary policy. What do you mean by monetary policy? In one word, money supply. Okay, so depending on the monetary policy, it will affect the inflation rate, it will affect the interest rate, it will affect the exchange rate, and it will affect the economic growth of the economy. And that is why these two policies of the government, whether you like it or you don't like it, it is going to definitely affect your cash flows of the project. And hence it is important to consider all these factors while you are analyzing the project and going for investment. Guys, is it clear? Is it clear, all of you? Please tell me, are you clear on this? देखो लिखा हुआ यहाँ पे, मैं पूरा पढ़ूं तुम्हारे लिए? चलो बेटर होगा मैं पढ़ती हूँ. Is it good? क्या हो गया, आज सब शांत बैठे हैं. Government policies are important external factors that impacts capital budgeting decision, because directly or indirectly they affect the future cash flows of the firm that form the basis of capital budgeting decision. It will not be possible for you to remember everything. If you are able to remember 5 sentences out of this paragraph, you are sorted in the examination. Correct? Okay, great. Okay? Then they say here, okay, great. Then they say government may not affect us, but it may affect our suppliers, buyers, customers, and service providers. The impact of changes in these policies can be positive as well as negative. What is more important is that impact of such should be analyzed. I'm not reading the whole thing, okay? The change in the government policy can be analyzed under 2 headings. Number 1 is what? Number 1 is domestic capital budgeting, and then international capital budgeting. Then here they are writing there are some policies which will applicable for long term. Then there are short term, like fiscal and monetary. The use of the government spending, taxation, and borrowing to influence both the pattern of economic activity, aggregate demand, output, and employment. I told you that. Monetary policy refers to the use of the monetary policy instruments which are at the, what are the monetary policy things like open market operations. Then तुमको पता है, एक बात हिंदी में बोल रही हूँ, बात अगर सपोज करो कि इंटरेस्ट रेट इन्फ्लेशन मार्केट में बहुत बढ़ गया, सपोज इफ द इन्फ्लेशन हैज इंक्रीज्ड अ लॉट, व्हाट विल द गवर्नमेंट डू? गवर्नमेंट विल स्टार्ट, व्हाट, the banking system is a very, very important tool in the hands of RBI or central bank. What will the RBI do? RBI is the bank of the government. What will RBI do? RBI will start selling government securities to the banks. You know what will happen? The RBI will increase the CRR and SLR percentage, okay, for the bank. So what, as a result of that, in order, if they increase the CRR, that's a percentage of deposit, the loanable funds in the hands of the bank will decrease. Okay, the money position will become tight. So if the inflation is increasing too much, government wants us to spend less, okay, in order to reduce the inflation. And in order to control that, the government has to control the loanable power. लोन देने की जो शक्ति है बैंक्स की, उसको कंट्रोल कर लेते हैं वो लोग, कि बैंक जब पैसा ही नहीं देगी तुमको, तो तुम प्रोजेक्ट लगाओगे नहीं तो चीज़ें बनेंगी नहीं तो हम खरीदेंगे नहीं तो हमारे हाथ में डिस्पोजेबल इनकम कम हो जाती है उससे. करेक्ट। तो आरबीआई क्या बोलेगा कि एसएलआर proportion they will increase. SLR means the banks will have to buy government securities from the RBI. So उनके पास, बैंक्स के पास जो पैसे हैं ना, उस पैसे से आरबीआई से सिक्योरिटीज खरीद लेंगे, तो पैसा चला गया आरबीआई के पास में, तो इनकी जो लोन देने की शक्ति है, लोन देने की जो पावर है, वो कम हो गई। तो मार्केट में मनी सप्लाई कम हो जाता है, और मार्केट में मनी सप्लाई कम हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा, नेचुरली इंटरेस्ट रेट तुम्हारा बढ़ जाएगा। और ये लोग क्या करेंगे, आरबीआई ब्याज का रेट भी बढ़ा देंगे। अगर आरबीआई ब्याज का रेट बढ़ाएगी तो बैंक्स को भी ब्याज का रेट बढ़ाना पड़ेगा, और अगर बैंक ब्याज का रेट बढ़ाएंगी तो कंपनीज के लिए कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स बढ़ जाता है। तो लोग क्या करेंगे, व्हाट विल दे डू? Did you understand what I said? I am saying that if there is inflation in the country, the RBI will try to control the loan giving power of the banks. Okay, they will start selling securities to the banks. They will ask the banks to buy the securities. So basically, what will the banks do? Banks will give money to the RBI and sell and buy the securities. So what will happen as a result of that? The interest rates will increase. So when the interest rates increase, the bank rate increases. When the bank rate increases, the interest rate for the normal people like corporates and us retail people increases. So what will I do? I will postpone my buy. I will postpone my purchases. As a result of that, the spending will decrease. As a result of that, the inflation will come down. Correct. That is how. Okay, now, so that is what they have written here. So generally, the change in the monetary policy depends on the economic status of the nation. Okay, then they say in India the monetary policy not required to selective control supply of the currency. Don't need to get into that. Now coming back again, impact of the changes in the government policy on the domestic capital budgeting decision, they are saying. Okay, so they are saying that since the interest rates, listen, जो मैंने अभी बोला ना वही है ये. So what are they trying to tell you is that since the change in the interest rate is a part of the monetary policy of the government. What is the topic? Domestic capital budgeting. Since interest rate is a part of the monetary policy of the government, if the government increases the interest rate, the cost of debt for the companies will increase. Okay, as a result of that, the cost of capital will increase. But they are also saying that, understood na? As a result of that, what will happen? There's one very important point they have made here. Then they're saying that this will not affect the cost of capital of the capital budgeting too much, but it will definitely, what they're trying to say is that day-to-day change in the interest rate will not change your cost of capital for the project because you have borrowed for the long term, but it is definitely going to affect your working capital requirement cost. For example, if you're going for CC facility or OD with the bank, the change in the interest rate will change the cost of funds for you. That's what they are trying to say. Then they are saying another change is related to fiscal policy. Since fiscal policy now, so this was related to monetary policy, how monetary policy will affect your domestic capital budgeting process. This is relating to fiscal policy. They are saying that fiscal policy is the basis of your tax rate. So if the government changes the tax rate, okay, especially with respect to depreciation or something, it is going to affect your cash flows. That's it. I'm not talking more now here. Going ahead, impact of changes in the government policies on the international capital budgeting. So because of the change in the monetary policy, interest rate or inflation rate, it is going to affect your exchange rate. So if the exchange rates are affected, then definitely in terms of the international capital budgeting, the cash flows are going to get affected. Then they are also saying that in terms of fiscal policy, I'm sure there are a lot of tax on the international cash flows. Like, they have given here that like double tax avoidance treaty and all that. So these basically ये याद रखो. तुमको बताऊं एक चीज याद करने का तरीका बताऊं. The way you can learn, monetary policy interest rate के ऊपर बात करो, fiscal policy tax के ऊपर बात करो. Okay, if it is a domestic capital budgeting, then you will talk about the how tax rate in the domestic scenario will affect your cash flows. Okay, in international, how the tax rate in the international DTA, just remember that and you'll be able to write 2 lines against that. I don't think you should be finding any problem with respect to these lines. As in international capital budgeting decision, in foreign exchange rate play a very important, as mentioned above, the change in the bank rate and money supply is decided as per the monetary policy. Okay, change in the tax rates related to foreign income or changes in the double tax. So basically when you are talking about monetary, talk about interest rate and affect how can it affect you, whether it is a domestic or it is international. When you're talking about fiscal, talk about the tax rate, how can it affect in your domestic scenario, how it can affect in your international. Correct. Oh, oh God. So there is some, Ria is saying that, ma'am, we are getting ads in between of the lecture actually. So what I'm saying is that what we can do, from tomorrow onward, there is a setting that I need to do. Okay, what I will keep that off. So for today, please bear, from tomorrow onwards or next lecture onwards, what I'll do, I'll put that off, that ad thing. Maybe I was not aware कि बीच में आता है. Okay, okay. So that spoils your experience of lecture actually. Okay. I think guys, almost like we are done with 40% of the portion. 40% is done. इनको पढ़ाई थोड़ी करनी, इनको मस्ती करनी है जिंदगी में, पता है. ओके चलो कोई नहीं, चलो फटाफट ख़त्म करते हैं. तुम फिर आगे भी तो पढ़ाई करनी है. आज आई हैव डन वेरी गुड नाइस शीट फॉर यू विल एंजॉय दैट अ लॉट. सो जस्ट क्विकली फिनिश दिस एंड देन वी कैन गो देयर. ओके, नाउ डीलिंग विथ रिस्क इन द इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन. दिस इज अ प्रॉपर टॉपिक विच इज कॉल्ड रिस्क. ओके ठीक है, डीलिंग विथ रिस्क इन इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन. ओके, सो बेसिकली नाउ फ्रॉम हियर, ओके, what till now what did you do? You were just trying to understand, okay, how some factors are very important for capital budgeting analysis. Number one, inflation. Number two, change in the technology. And number three, government policies. That's what we have done till now. Now the topic that we have started just now is talking about risk. Okay, variability in the cash flows. Very, very important word, variability in the cash flows. One of my favorites. So basically, guys, here on, why are we supposed to like evaluate a project in terms of its variability of cash flows? Because the cash flows that you are going to receive is with respect to your future. Future cannot be predicted with 100% probability. It is not possible. So when you are saying I will be able to sell my goods and services at this price, my cost will be this and falana and dhimka, do you think whatever you're saying as of today would be 100% matching with at that point of time? No, it is not possible. So what we are trying to do is try to take a mean value, okay, of the cash flows and the standard deviation around that mean. Okay, that is risk. The deviation of the cash flows is called variability actually. Higher the variability, higher the risk. But if you are suppose a company and you have decided that, okay, I cannot go beyond this in terms of risk, I will not accept the project. But if you do not analyze the risk or the variability of the cash flows by different methods, how will you be able to decide how risky the project is or not? And that is what we are wanting to study here. Okay. So basically they are saying that risk is an integral part of the project decision making or capital budgeting process. Risk is an important part. They are saying there can be three types of decision making. Number one, where the cash flows under the situation of certainty, where the cash flows are certain. Can anybody give me an example of any business type? Santi se sunna. Can anybody give me one example where your cash flows in future would be almost not certain, almost certain? One business type we have where the cash flows are almost certain. Answer please. Quickly. Tell me please, any business you know which has got almost no variability. Chandan is saying lending. What else? Lending is 100% risk-free. Yes. Lending money is 100%, not 100% risk-free. It is not 100% risk-free, but yeah, quite a lot. There would be some, NPAs and GNPAs there. There would be, it is not 100% risk-free, but yeah, quite a lot of it. The percentage of default would be relatively, depends on what kind of credit you have given, to what kind of people you have given the credit. Banking. Yeah, is saying mandir. Mandir, yes. This is something 100% shorter. Should I quote one example? Utility business. What is utility business? Utility business means electricity business, mobile business. Okay, these are businesses where cash flows are. Do you change your electricity company on a daily basis? Do you change? We do not change. Suppose if there is Tata Power in Bombay and Adani Power in Bombay, I wouldn't change my meter on a daily basis. And on an average, the billing of every house in a particular season would be the same. Utility business, and that is why maximum utility businesses are with people who are relatives of government officials or government people. Actually, they do not come to the normal people. Utility business is a like electricity business, electricity, water, mobile business, and all, kind of mobile billing. Like these are businesses. I mean, look at Geo. What kind of billing it would be? So these are utility businesses. So it is almost like certain. देर इज इसमें वेरिएबिलिटी होती नहीं है, बहुत कम वेरिएबिलिटी होती है. हम थोड़ी ना इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का मीटर रोज निकाल के बोलते हैं अरे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, टाटा पावर का हटाओ, अदानी का लगाओ, अदानी का हटाओ, टाटा पावर का. ऐसा करते हैं क्या? हम नहीं करते ना. एंड सीजनल मैपिंग हो जाती है उसकी कि भाई एक मान लो कि हमारा घर है तो अर्चना खेतान के घर में ये 3 महीने इतना बिल आता है, ये 3 महीने इतने बिल आते हैं, इतना बिल आता है, वो फिक्स हो जाता है. तो जब तुमको पता है कि इतने इतने समय में ये बिल आएगा तुमको, तो कहाँ वेरिएबिलिटी रह गई, रिस्क है कहाँ? Correct, necessary. Education is not, Ria, if you say education, I would say school business, more to do, not with the coaching business. Actually, in today's time, coaching business is highly variable actually. Yes, schools and colleges, yes. Then decision making under uncertainty, which involves risk and probability, can be assigned. Then they are saying that there is uncertainty, but you can assign probabilities out there. Okay, for example, she said banking. The banking is somewhere between certain and uncertain. Okay, you can assign some amount of probabilities. Okay, on the basis of my historical understanding, this is the percentage of people who can default. Okay, the third one is you cannot assign any probability to that, like movie business. Okay, somebody, suppose I am a distributor of movie. I mean, same Shah Rukh Khan, one business can create like 1000 crore of business and the second movie can create 0 business. So you cannot assign. So guys, 2 and 3 are very important. In second, you can assign probability. Okay, that means some amount of prediction is like possible. In the third one, there is no prediction possible at all. Correct. So this is done. Now they're saying what is risk? What is the difference between risk and uncertainty? The only difference between risk and uncertainty is that they are saying that risk is, both are used interchangeably, but when we say risk, you can assign probabilities to the expected situations actually, कि ये भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है, and these are the probabilities. But in case of uncertainty, you cannot assign any probabilities also. Okay, that is more dangerous. Though they say that risk and uncertainty are used interchangeably actually. Okay, but they have given a very beautiful difference. Can I write here? So risk can assign probabilities and uncertainty cannot assign. That means you cannot predict at all basically. Okay, then Netflix is the most certain thing. Netflix is the most certain business actually. There is no probability or risk involved. All of you are very much into Netflix. Once you start a series and you are gone. Then reasons of adjustment, very very important point here. Reasons, फटाफट कर, बहुत लंबा topic है. Reasons for adjustment of risk in the capital budgeting decision. Okay, what is the reason? What are they saying? What is the reason that we should adjust risk in capital budgeting? That means they are trying to tell why is it important that risk should be considered as an important factor while you are analyzing any project. They've given 2 points. I'll exactly say these 2 points only. Number one, they are saying that there is some opportunity cost associated with risk. That means if I invest in a project, I should, and if there is risk involved, then I should be able to earn commensurate amount of returns in matching with the risk. Okay, because if I have money, it is not important for me to invest in this particular project only. I can invest some in other project. I cannot waste my money. Point number one. Then they also say that when you consider risk, then only you come to know what will be the real value of the cash flows that you are going to get. If you do not, ऐसे थोड़ी कर सकते. वो क्या बोल रहे, 2 पॉइंट हिंदी में बताती हूँ तुमको. एक पॉइंट ये बोल रहे हैं कि ये मेरा अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट है, मैं रिस्क लेना चाहती हूँ, लेकिन अगर तुम आज सीए कर रहे हो तो उसके पीछे रीजन है ना, उतना रिस्क तुम ले रहे हो लाइफ में, तो तुमको तो ये भी पता है ना कि भाई एक बार पास कर गए तो मेरे को इतना सारा रिटर्न्स मिलेगा, वरना रिस्क लेंगे ही नहीं ना हम. तो तुमको नहीं लगता कि कुछ प्रोजेक्ट उठाने के पहले ही हमको ये एनालिसिस करके बस घुस ही जाना चाहिए? नहीं करेंगे ना हम ऐसा. पॉइंट नंबर 1. पॉइंट नंबर 2, जब तुम रिस्क एनालिसिस करोगे तभी तो जाके पता चलेगा कि भाई सामने सिनेरियो क्या है, रियल कैश फ्लोस क्या आने वाला है. अगर तुम वो एनालाइज ही नहीं करोगे तो पता कैसे चलेगा कि हाथ में क्या आने वाला है? वो 2 बातें हो रही है. तो गाइस याद करना पड़ेगा तुमको. करेक्ट. सो देयर इज अगेन, so here point number 1, point number 2, reasons. So there are opportunity cost involved while investing in a project for the level of risk. Adjustment of risk is necessary to help make the decision as to whether the returns out of project are proportionate with the risk borne and whether it is worth investing in the project over the other investment options available. We talked about that. Risk adjustment is required to know the real value of the cash flows. If there is higher risk involved in the project, we can ask for higher returns, or the additional risk premium can be added to the cost of capital. These are the 2 points that they are saying here. Okay. Then उसके बाद the third one, internal and external factors affecting capital budgeting decision. So in internal factors, guys, they have given 2. They have given project specific risk and company specific risk. This is an important point with respect to theory question actually. What are the internal factors? Project specific risk means the risk which is related to the project, like how much time will it take to start the project, how much delay can happen, errors in the estimation of like cash flows and delay in the terms of time and many more things. समझा क्या बोला? प्रोजेक्ट रिस्क का मतलब ये हुआ कि भाई प्रोजेक्ट से रिलेटेड जो रिस्क है ना उसकी बात कर रहे हैं. मतलब मान लो कि प्रोजेक्ट खत्म होने में कितना टाइम लगेगा. अगर तुमने जो एस्टिमेशन किया कि कब 1 साल में हो जाएगा, 1.5 साल लग गए, 2 साल लग गए, फिर हमने सोचा था हम इतना कमा पाएंगे, हम इतना नहीं कमा पाएंगे. सो एनीथिंग विच इज रिलेटेड टू द प्रोजेक्ट इज प्रोजेक्ट स्पेसिफिक रिस्क. Okay, then company specific risk. These are internal, guys. These are internal. Okay, now company specific risk. The project will be always done by a company. So any risk which is related to company, like change in the management, change in the key management personnel, then some HR issues, then availability of the resources, anything related to the company which has started the project will come under the category of internal factors. 2 internal factors, project specific risk and company specific risk. Do not forget please. अरे तुम लोग बाहर निकलो उसमें से. अभी ध्यान दो इसके ऊपर में, मैं बहुत आगे बढ़ गई हूं. The internal factors would be project specific risk and company specific risk. So these 2 are done. Now external factors, so many of them are there. So industry specific risk, basically you started a project in a particular kind of business and the whole industry gets affected. Like there could be some like regulatory policies kuch aa sakti hain, there could be some resource problem or something like that, and if everybody is facing that problem, you are not going to escape. For example, they have given 2 businesses. For example, number 1, the breweries business, the business of alcohol, and number 2, leather business. So Whenever you are starting a project, you should also analyze whether this industry is safe from various kind of risk. Okay, so industry specific risk, then they have given competition risk. You should also see to the fact that whether whether there are enough entry barriers or not. If there are too low entry barriers, there is a possibility that there would be a lot of competition in the business coming in later on once you have started, and your margins will reduce because your market share will go down. Then risk due to economic condition. You should always try to see that what kind of microeconomic conditions are there. Are we heading for recession? Kind of the scenario of the interest rate, inflation rate, exchange rate and everything, and international risk. So maybe like pandemic and like wars and rebellion and so many things for that matter. Yes, Nishant. Paytm crisis company is company specific risk. Completely correct. Completely correct actually. So here we need to summarize now. Okay. So internal factors, internal, project specific. Okay. Then you have company specific. Okay. So be careful on that part. Okay, then external, yes. The one is like industry, the industry in which your project is, industry risk. Then your what if they give the word? Risk due to competition, or maybe I can write down competition risk. Competition risk. Then they are saying market risk. Okay, so maybe if the markets are down, if the demand is low, then what will you do? You'll have to get affected. You will be affected because of that. So market risk, international risk. So maybe international factors like Ukraine war, or maybe like war. अभी भी चल ही रहा है यार, इतनी सारी चीजें चल रही है. अभी now there is a lot of impending recession in the US and the European countries. As a result of that, our numbers in terms of GDP and everything are very, very good. But because if you see the stock market on a daily basis, because the banking, if you see the stock market of India as of today, what is happening? That because the inflation is not reducing in US, okay, and as a result of that, the Fed is not decreasing the interest rate, okay, and that is affecting our stock market, and as a result of that, the banking sector is going down and down and down. And ask me what is happening to the options of Bank Nifty, where I bought so many calls for March expiry. Ask me how I feel about that, because I thought the Fed will reduce interest rates. As a result of that, the interest rates in India will be reduced, and as a result of that, the Bank Nifty will go up. Okay, and that is why I bought so many calls for March expiry, and I am not able to see anything positive. I'm just praying to God, because that's what I can do at this point of time. Okay, please remember this. Okay, so we are done here, guys. We are done. Let's go ahead now. Are we good? Are we good? Can I move ahead from here? अब जल्दी खत्म हो जाएगा, आधे एक घंटे में खत्म हो जाएगा टॉप पोर्शन. We are going great only because more than 60% portion is over actually. Are we good, guys, all of you? Yes? Call. European calls. Options. Okay, great. Let's go ahead now. So now methods of incorporating risk in the capital budgeting. Methods of incorporating risk. So this is important actually. This is important from the case study point of view. I will do that. Okay. So I should not, I am not registered with SEBI. Okay, so I cannot speak on the public forum about the investment. It's not a good idea. But yeah, I can give you some hints I can give you later on, but not immediately. I told you, now listen to me carefully. I told you something that whenever they create a case study, be very, very aware to the fact that they cannot create a case study, okay, on a topic where topics are Not exhaustive, not exhaustive. For example, can we not add two more risks here? Yes or no? Tell me please. Can you not add two more risks here? I can add. Can I not add two more here? I can. Can I not add some more here points? I can. But this looks like more of a closed category. Okay, so technical risk analysis, statistical technique, they have given probability, okay, then variance and coefficient of a variation. So they can try to create a case study where they can talk about the method, and you have to call the names of that particular category. I have created a case study based on this also. Okay, समझना इस बात को, जो closed category होगी ना उस पे case study बन सकती है. मैं एमसीक्यू की बात नहीं कर रही, मैं केस स्टडी की बात कर रही हूं. तो केस स्टडी बनाने के लिए जो ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल है ना एज अ टीचर मेरे पास में, वो एक क्लोज्ड कैटेगरी होनी चाहिए. ओपन एंडेड वाले पे मैं नहीं बना सकती, थोड़ी मुश्किल होती है बनाने में, एंड इट इज लाइक डिफिकल्ट फॉर दैट, फॉर इफ यू आर एग्जैक्टली गेटिंग व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लेन यू. ओके, नाउ हियर, so statistical technique में you have probability, you have variance or standard deviation, or you have coefficient of variation. In conventional technique you have risk adjusted discount rate method and certainty equivalent coefficient method. I'll explain each one of them to you in 2 seconds. Then other techniques are scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis and decision tree analysis, and we would be done with this topic for that matter. Quickly let's go. Now the first one, probability. It is related to risk. That means you assign probability to the various events. You assign probabilities to the various events. That is called probability method. With the help of the probabilities assigned. For example, suppose there is a project I have started which will last only for a year. Okay, and I predict that, or on the basis of some calculation, I say that I can earn 10,000, I can earn 20,000, or I can also earn maybe 50,000. Okay, next year the cash flows can be 10, 20 or 50 depending on various factors, and I assign probability 0.3, 0.3 and 0.4. Okay, so depending, suppose I feel that this year it is not clear whether India will go into recession, boom or moderate. Okay, but the probability of boom is 40%, the probability of moderate is 30%, and the probability of recession is 30%. So if there is a boom, then I will earn 50,000. If there is a recession, I will earn 10,000. If it is moderate, I earn 20,000. So depending on the events that you think will happen, you can assign probabilities and you can calculate an average value. An average value, 10,000 into 0.3 plus 20,000 into 0.3 plus 50,000 into 0.4, you get an average value. You can any which ways cannot have one value. How is it possible? तुम कहते हो कि मैं अगले साल 40,000 कमाऊंगा, किस बेस पे बात कर रहे हो तुम? उस 40,000 को कैलकुलेट करने के लिए तुमने प्राइस लिया है, कॉस्ट लिया है, कितनी सारी चीजें ले ली है. वो सारी चीजें अगर हो जाएंगी तो कमाओगे ना. तो 100% श्योरिटी के साथ तुम नहीं कह सकते. तुम एक बात का ध्यान रखना, हमेशा जब भी तुम एक गिवन कैश फ्लो का एनपीवी निकालते हो ना, वो कैश फ्लोज एक्चुअली एवरेज कैश फ्लोज होती हैं, एक कैश फ्लो नहीं होता. एक कैश फ्लो होने का मतलब है तुमने रिस्क को कंसिडर ही नहीं किया. दैट वे. So probability, then next one is variance or standard deviation. Now suppose this is 10,000, okay, this is 20,000, then this is 50,000 suppose, and the probabilities are 0.3, 0.3 and 0.4. What will I do? I will do px, that becomes my mean. So x bar will be summation of px will be the answer, this one. Okay, and then I can calculate p x minus x bar whole square, that is the total will be called variance. And if you take the root, that will give you SD. So what is exactly happening here? So basically you are just trying to see how much when you take an SD, you get to know how much the cash flows are deviating from the mean. Higher the deviation, higher the risk. So suppose you as a part of the management have to decide, okay, I cannot accept more than this SD. And if the project while analysis is giving you more SD than what you have decided for yourself, you will not take the project, you will reject the project. That is called, what is the name of the topic? A statistical technique of risk analysis, probability. Assigning probabilities to the events. Number 2, calculating variance or SD. How much the variation will happen from the mean, lower the better. Okay, then the last one, coefficient of variation. What is coefficient of variation? Coefficient of variation is basically SD by mean. Okay, I always give one example always and that is such a good example. Suppose you give your paper, SFM or AFM paper, whatever, and after coming back, once you've given the paper, I ask you as a teacher, okay, how much do you think you will get? How much do you think you will get? You say, ma'am, I think, हिंदी में बोलूं, तुम अगर बोलोगे मैम 60 नंबर आ जाएंगे, 40 नंबर इधर 40 नंबर उधर, एक तो ये एग्जाम्पल हो गया. तो मैंने बोला कि अच्छा 40 नंबर इधर का मतलब 100 और 40 नंबर उधर का मतलब हुआ 20, यानी कि तुम बोल रहे हो कि 20 से लेके 100 के बीच में कुछ भी नंबर आ सकता है तुमको. ये अच्छा आंसर है? बहुत ही खराब आंसर है. दूसरा एग्जाम्पल सुनो. You come to me and you say कि मैम 40 नंबर इधर 40 नंबर उधर. अरे किससे इधर किससे उधर? Okay, and that is why when I say only SD, only variance, you have read in your CA foundation, that's called absolute measure of dispersion. But when you interpret your SD with respect to the mean, that is called relative measure of dispersion. Standard deviation does not have any meaning without mean. 80 plus, very good, Amin. Understood everybody, all of you? Understood? So basically one is probability, then is variance, then coefficient of variation. अगर बोलोगे तो skip कर जाऊँ, आगे बढ़ जाती हूँ. Because it's all like calculation and all. So basically this is what they've given to you. Like see, I think we are done with this part also. Coefficient of variation is SD by mean. This is a better way, okay, of understanding. Lower the better, lower the better. Now guys, this is also done. Now, conventional techniques, risk adjusted discount rate method. सुन लो ध्यान से, फटाफट बता देती हूँ. So what is risk adjusted discount rate method? Risk adjusted discount rate method is a very regarded as a good method because skip na, yes, we'll skip. So फटाफट बता देती हूँ. So what is risk adjusted discount rate method? Risk adjusted discount rate method is like you are clear that how much additional risk premium you want for a particular project on the basis of the risk involved in the project. Okay? हाँ आएगा, right. Okay, so that is risk adjusted discount rate method. That means to say you have like ROR, maybe like I can write down this much. I can write down like this. This is like your RF, nominal RF adjusted for inflation and risk premium. So RADR is nothing. RADR is nothing but the risk-free rate, the nominal risk-free rate plus the risk premium. It's a good, so risk-free rate and risk premium. That's all. That's all. I think we are done with this. Advantages of risk-adjusted discount rate method. It is easy to understand and incorporates the risk premium. The limitations. ये याद करना पड़ेगा तुमको, choice नहीं तुम्हारे पास. वैसे इस पे theory लिखने को आएगी. They will not ask. They can ask you MCQs, but not really. Writing theory could be a part of this part. MCQ and case study नहीं आएगा इसके ऊपर में. I don't think so. Yes, practical ही आएगा. Okay. So limitations of risk adjusted discount rate. Difficulty in finding risk. So remember one each. RADR, it is easy to understand. Number 2, the limitation. It is very difficult ki how much risk premium you want from particular project. It is such a subjective thing. It is not easy to understand that. How would you calculate? ये जैसे भूख लगी है, प्यास लगी है, यूटिलिटी पढ़ते थे ना तुम. So it is so difficult to calculate or quantify that. That is what they are saying. Then certainty equivalent coefficient method. So in this method they are saying that it is a measure of risk. One line. It helps you convert risky cash flows. It helps you convert your risky cash flows, okay, risk in terms of risk-free cash flows with the help of a certainty equivalent coefficient where the person is indifferent between the both. मतलब अगर मैं तुमको बोलूं कि अनसर्टेन 5,000 रुपए ले लो या सर्टेन 3,000 रुपए ले लो and you are happy with 3,000, that is certainty equivalent coefficient method. I repeat. So basically in certainty equivalent coefficient method, you convert, it helps to convert risky cash flows into risk-free cash flows where the decision maker is indifferent between the two. That is certainty equivalent coefficient method. So how do you, what are the steps? Number one, you जो cash flows दिए हुए रहेंगे probability रहेगी, okay? तुम एवरेज कैश फ्लोज निकालोगे, उसको सीई से मल्टीप्लाई करोगे और कन्वर्ट करके कंफर्म्ड कैश फ्लोज निकाल दोगे. इफ यू हैव डन क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू फाइंड एनी प्रॉब्लम. You are not going to find any problem here, okay, if you have done questions. So you must do this question. You will naturally understand what are you supposed to do in this topic. So basically year 1, year 2, year 3. Year 1, 10, 20, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 0.3, 0.3, 0.4, okay. So you multiply the probabilities and get an average cash flow for year 1. That is risky cash flow. But in the question, they will give you a certainty equivalent coefficient like 0.9. When you multiply with 0.9, it gives you certain cash flows, and then you discounting factor always in this topic will be what is the discounting factor in this topic? All of you guys please participate. Discounting factor will be risk adjusted rate or risk free rate. Answer please quickly. What will you take in this topic? If you're computing NPV using CEC method, what discounting factor will you use? You will use a KC or a risk free rate? Please tell me. What will you use? Risk-free rate. Risk-free rate. Why? No. Risk-free rate. Why? देखो सुनो ध्यान से. Listen to me carefully now. When risky cash flows, देखो तुम लोग को लगता है कि तुम लोग को आता है. नहीं. गलत. Risky cash flows into CEC. When you do this, careful, when you convert your risk into risk-free cash flows, you tell me now, risky cash flows into certainty equivalent coefficient, when you multiply, you get risk-free cash flows. So you will use 1 plus RF only, na? Did you understand, all of you? When you have already converted your risky cash flows into risk-free cash flows, then in order to discount the risk-free cash flows, you will not use a risk-adjusted rate. You are going to use a risk-free rate only now in order to have a mathematical compatibility. Understood, all of you? Can we move ahead now? Always, and in the question, there is a high probability that they will give you both the rates. They will give you risk-adjusted rate also and risk-free rate also. So you need to be very, very careful that in a CEC method, you are not going to use. Got it, all of you? Yes. In the examination, they are going to give you both the rates in the question. You will not use risk-adjusted rate because it is not the right rate to choose. You will use risk-free rate because once you multiply your risky cash flows with CEC coefficient, your cash flows become risk-free, and you will use risk-free rate to discount your cash flows. Understood? Okay. No. Jayant Singh once, ma'am. जयंत सुनो, आप, मैं क्या बोलती हूँ आपको कि 5,000 रुपए रिस्की है और 3,000 रुपए रिस्क फ्री है, ओके. तो 5,000 रुपए को समझो कि ऐसे कर देती हूँ मैं, 3,000 डिवाइड बाई 5,000 कितना होता है? अच्छा चलो, तो बेसिकली मैं क्या कहती हूँ आपको, सपोज 5,000 रुपए आपका रिस्की कैश फ्लोज है और CEC 0.6 है, ओके. तो 5,000 में 0.6 आपने मल्टीप्लाई किया तो 3,000 रिस्क फ्री कैश फ्लो, यानी 3,000 तो आएगा ही आएगा. तो जब आपका 3,000 सर्टेन है, रिस्क फ्री कैश फ्लो है, तो उसके डिस्काउंटिंग आप रिस्क एडजस्टेड रेट से नहीं करोगे ना, आप रिस्क फ्री रेट से करोगे. करेक्ट जयंत? करेक्ट. जयंत आपको समझ गया मैं क्या कह रही हूं? Now advantages 1 each. They have given 2, we'll learn 1 each. Again, very, very simple and easy to understand. Okay, number, it is difficult to identify CECs. whether I should multiply with 0.6 or 0.4 or 0.9 or point, कैसे calculate करोगे? Very subjective method, it is not very objective method. Okay, going ahead now. So they are saying which is better, risk adjusted discount rate or certainty equivalent? Obviously, we find CEC method as a better method because it helps you convert your cash flows into risk-free cash flows and get you a proper picture in terms of the NPV. Okay, very good, Jayant. Thank you so much. Now, other techniques. It guys 15 minutes more and we are sorted. As what is sensitivity? सुनोगे तो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा. I think मैं इतना पढ़ूंगी तो तुम्हारे अभी थकान होने लगी सारे बच्चों को, इसलिए भाग गए बहुत सारे. तो ठीक है, चलेगा. That doesn't bother me. What is sensitivity analysis? What is scenario analysis? And what is simulation? These three things we have to study. And then decision tree analysis. So it will take half an hour for me to complete this, and then we can do questions and wind up. Okay. So first of all, what is sensitivity analysis? I will show you something. NPV, wait a minute. NPV is Q P minus V, okay, then minus fixed cost, okay. So basically I am ignoring, so what did I calculate? Q is volume, P is price per unit, variable cost per unit. So price minus variable cost per unit is contribution per unit, multiplied with quantity will give you total contribution. Total contribution minus fixed cost will give you EBDIT. Okay, then I am ignoring tax and other things, okay, your depreciation and all, into PVA R comma N, the whole minus initial investment. What is this now? So basically this is called NPV model. So basically guys, what is sensitivity analysis? If you see this model, there are some critical factors. Correct. There are some critical factors in this model here. Okay. Critical factors like how much will I be able to sell? Q. How much price I will be able to sell? Again, critical factor, not certain. What variable cost will be there? What fixed cost will be there? Depreciation is a contractual cash flow. There is no risk about it. Tax rate is again contractual. There is no risk about it. It's not a critical factor. The government, whatever you earn, tax will be applied on that. Okay, the rate will not change like too much for that matter. Cost of capital. R is what? Cost of capital. What cost of capital will be there for me? Critical factor. How many years will I be able to run the project? एक बात का ध्यान रखना, जितना लंबा प्रोजेक्ट चलेगा ना हमारे लिए उतना ज़्यादा अच्छा है, तो वो भी critical factor. Initial investment. It can be critical, it might not be critical. So these are the various critical factors in a project. These are the critical factors in a project. Okay. But all cannot be critical in one particular project. For some projects, price is critical. For some projects, Q is critical. For some projects, cost of capital is critical. So in sensitivity analysis, what we do, that we identify what are the critical factors in our project. I say, okay, in my project, the price of sale and the number of years are very, very critical. That means बहुत important है. मैं ये जानना चाहती हूँ, I want to know that how much risk any one of these can pose in terms of the planned outcome. मतलब मैंने जो सोचा है, मेरे प्लान्ड आउटकम के ऊपर में इनमें से कौन सा वाला क्रिटिकल फैक्टर जो मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा रिस्क क्रिएट कर देगा? हाउ विल यू कैलकुलेट दैट? सो सपोज मैं यहाँ पे खड़ी हूँ, मैं कह रही हूँ कि भाई प्राइस तुम्हारा 10 रुपीज में बेच लेंगे, वेरिएबल कॉस्ट 4 रुपए में बेच लेंगे, वॉल्यूम आई विल सेल 10,000 यूनिट्स एंड सो ऑन. सो व्हेन यू आर कंप्यूटिंग क्रिटिकलिटी विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू प्राइस, you will put all the factors, set the NPV at 0 and compute the break-even value of price. Okay. So suppose I put everything in the data and I get 7. I set NPV at 0. What do you mean by that? It means that though I am expecting that I will be able to sell at a price of 10 rupees, but then even if the price falls down to 7, we are not at loss, but keeping other factors as constant. That is sensitivity analysis. And this calculation you will do for all the critical factors. Okay. And the one which is creating the maximum problem, you will try to deal with that in a different way. Are you good, guys? Guys, are you good? मैं पूरा थ्योरी बोलूंगी, तुमको मजा नहीं आएगा सुनने का मैं क्या कह रही हूँ. तो बेसिकली तुमने क्या किया, तुमने एक प्रोजेक्ट डालने वाले हो. तुम बोल रहे मैम मैं 10 रुपए में माल बेच लूंगा पर यूनिट, 4 रुपए का वेरिएबल कॉस्ट होगा, 10,000 यूनिट बेचने का सोच रहा हूँ, 5 साल प्रोजेक्ट चलेगा और कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल 10% है और खर्चा लगभग समझ लो कि आप 50,000 रुपए आएगा. ठीक है, ये तुमने एस्टिमेट किया. You can say that Ayushi, you can say that change in the NPV because of critical factor. Yes, okay. तो तुम क्या करोगे, एक तुम एनपीवी का मॉडल देखा, एनपीवी को 0 पे सेट कर दो और एक काम करो कि प्राइस को पी रहने दो, बाकी सारे आइटम डाल दो. ठीक है, और निकालोगे ब्रेक इवन पी निकालोगे तो 7 निकला, अज्यूम करो 7 निकला. तो तुम इसका मीनिंग कैसे हुआ कि बॉस सब कुछ अगर अपनी जगह पे रहा, ओके, लेकिन अगर मेरे बेचने की प्राइस 10 रुपए से घट के 7 रुपए भी हो गई ना तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, हम अभी भी ब्रेक इवन जोन में चल रहे हैं. लेकिन 7 रुपए से नीचे गया तो हमारा एनपीवी नेगेटिव हो जाएगा. इसको सेंसिटिविटी एनालिसिस कहते हैं. बट द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम विद सेंसिटिविटी एनालिसिस इज दैट इन रियल लाइफ ऑल द वेरिएबल्स चेंज टुगेदर. वन stand alone basis, one critical factor will not change. All of them will change together. So what is the answer? The answer is scenario analysis. In the scenario analysis also, what happens? You substitute the estimated values in different situations like boom, like recession, like moderate, and try to calculate NPV for in each of the situation. So if we compare sensitivity and scenario will turn out to be better. In sensitivity, you are trying to analyze only one factor at one point of time, but in a scenario analysis, you are trying to analyze all the factors at one point of time in a particular scenario. That is scenario analysis. Guys, all of you are good? Because मुझे लगता है मैं अगर पूरा पढ़ूंगी तुम बोर हो जाओगे बहुत ज़्यादा, इसलिए क्विकली खत्म करने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ. So now you tell me, do you want me to read everything, or we can skip and move ahead? As you say, I am a very hardworking person. If you say, ma'am, can we read through this, the whole thing? I am ready to do that with you. If you say, ma'am, please skip, we can manage, I'll skip. So tell me what to do, because I want your attention. Your attention is most important to me. मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, तुम जो बोलोगे मैं वो कर दूंगी. तुम बोलोगे नहीं मैम आप पूरा पढ़ो, आपके साथ हो जाएगा, तो मैं पूरा पढ़ दूंगी. मैंने 10 बार पढ़ लिया सुबह से, एक बार और पढ़ लूंगी. प्रशांत, अभी देखो, thumbs up. Yup, what do you mean by that? I am supposed to read or I am not supposed to read? Chandani is saying ऐसे. Ayushi is saying skip. Okay, तो skip. तो पढ़ लोगे अभी घर जाके. Will you be able to go through this quickly at your, will you go through now that I made you understand? Will you be able to do that? Okay, chalo. Then let's go ahead then. Let's not waste time too much. The students are saying. No, Nitin, it is manageable. If you go through the theory now, it will be, they have written the same thing what I just spoke now. They have written the same thing what I just spoke. Okay. You can do as homework. You will have to any which ways go through. I have not skipped anything, Nitin. I will not do that. Nitin, मैं कभी भी कोई चीज रहने नहीं दूंगी बिना समझाए बिना. वो कितना भी हल्ला मुल्ला करे, सारे बच्चे चले जाएं, 2 बैठे होंगे तो भी मैं पूरा समझा के निकलूंगी. लेकिन कभी कभी कॉल ले सकते हैं ताकि बोरियत ना हो बहुत ज्यादा. Then read on your own, okay? हाँ, पढ़ ले, लेकिन पढ़ना, उसको छोड़ नहीं देना. बिकॉज अगर पढ़ोगे नहीं ना तो वर्ड्स नहीं मिलेंगे ना, कीवर्ड्स नहीं मिलेंगे तुमको. चलेगा, बहुत अच्छी बात है. सिनेरियो के बारे में देखो लिखा हुआ है, पूरा कवर कर दिया मैंने. So whatever I said, sensitivity analysis, look at this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sensitivity analysis and scenario analysis both help to understand the impact of the change in the input variable on the outcome. However, there are certain basic differences between the two. Sensitivity analysis calculates the impact. This is important. This is very, very important. Okay, sensitivity analysis calculates the impact of the change of a single input on the outcome of the project. The sensitivity analysis thus enables to identify that single critical variable which can impact the outcome in a huge way, and the range of outcomes of the project given the change in the input variable. Scenario analysis, on the other hand, is based on a scenario. The scenario may be a recession or a boom, wherein depending on the scenario, all input variables change. Scenario analysis calculates the outcome of the project considering the scenario. Scenario analysis is far more complex than sensitivity analysis. It is easy for you to understand. You can see that it is not like difficult at all. Then simulation. Guys, इसमें क्या होता है, ये थोड़ा सा ना ट्रिकी है बेसिकली. सो फिर भी समझाऊंगी मैं तुमको व्हाट इज सिम्युलेशन. सो बेसिकली इन सिम्युलेशन यू ट्राई टू लिसन टू मी केयरफुली. ओके, in simulation you will try to simulate a actual scenario, actually, for that matter. Okay, so how will you simulate? So basically in मैं हिंदी में भी आऊँगी, पहले let me speak in English so that I can pick up some words from what I speak. Okay, so it will simulate your real life situation. How? So basically there are two kinds of variables that you use in simulation. One are called parameters and one is called exogenous variables. Pick up the words, guys. Simulation tries to replicate a real life situation. Okay, now there are two types of variables in a simulation. One is called parameters and one are called exogenous variables. What are parameters? Parameters are those variables which a decision maker can control. They are under the control of the decision maker, means you have kept those variables in the model as constant. Then there are exogenous variables which are not in the control of the decision maker and they will change. Like in the NPV model, you can decide which one you want to keep as parameters and which one you want to keep as exogenous variables. Everything cannot be critical. For example, I say that okay, my cost of capital will not change. It is fixed at 10% parameter. My price is highly volatile. It can be 10, 15, 20. It is an exogenous variable. So depending on that, what will you do? So what you will do, guys, you will pick up those exogenous variables, okay, on a random basis and run a simulation. तुमको समझ रहा है मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? Controllable and non-controllable. Yes. So basically what will you do? Suppose I say that, okay, in the NPV model which I wrote earlier, in the NPV model, two are exogenous variables, price and what? Volume. Okay. So price can be 10, it can be 15, it can be 20. Then volume can be 10K, it can be 15K, or it can be 20K. Possible? So basically what I will do, I will pick up different, I will simulate the model of NPV with different combinations. How many combinations can you create? Do you know that? We can create basically 9 combinations here. We can create 9 combinations, and with the help of those 9 combinations, I can calculate 9 NPVs. Means I take price and then combine with 10K, 15K, 20K. Then I take 15, then again 10K, 15K, 20K, then again 20K, 10K, 15K, 20K. That means I am trying to simulate a real life. That means these exogenous variables can assume any value and I can take infinite runs to get a range of NPV. Suppose I have taken 9 runs. Okay, 9 are the exhaustive runs here. Okay, out of 9 runs, suppose 8 times I get a positive NPV and I get only 1 time as negative NPV. That means only when the worst conditions got connected, then only it will give me a wrong answer. Otherwise, the project is healthy, it is good. But if I compute 9 NPVs with the help of 9 runs and 9 combinations, I see that 7 times the NPV is negative. Only 2 times I'm getting a positive NPV. That also means to say that only when best combinations came together, I get a positive NPV, else the project is not healthy. It is not good. That is simulation. Guys, did you understand what is simulation? So basically, simulation is like a replica of the actual life situation. Okay, the decision maker will have to create a simulation model wherein he will have to identify the parameters and the exogenous variables. Parameters he can control, that means they are almost like constant and controllable, as you are saying, and exogenous variables are not in the control of the decision maker because they are the critical values. Then with the help of the probabilities, we try to create different combinations and run different simulations infinite times and compute the NPVs. And depending on that, we try to analyze the strength of the project. Guys, समझा है क्या? Did you understand what I spoke just now? Did you understand, all of you? Simulation समझा तुम सबको क्या बोला मैंने? If you understood, then we can go ahead, guys. Yes, but I'll read this. Simulation is the exact replica of actual situation. Okay. Yes, you can say to simulate an actual situation, a model shall be prepared. Okay, देखो यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छा लिखा हुआ है. Modeling the project. The model shows. Okay, the model shows a relationship of the NPV with parameters and exogenous variables. Then specify the values of the parameters and the probability distributions of the exogenous variables. Select a value at random from probability distribution each of the exogenous variables. Okay. Determine NPV corresponding to the randomly generated value of the exogenous variables and pre-specified parameters variables. Repeat 3 and 4 a large number of times to get a large number of simulated NPVs. Plot probability distribution of NPV and compute a mean and standard deviation of returns to gauge the project's level of risk. Guys, these are topics where we get a lot of sums. So till the time you are conceptually, if you're conceptually good, you can write a theory on that in your own words also. It is not possible to mug up everything there. But yeah, even if you write 30-40% also in their language, they are not going to cancel your marks. So you can be positive on that part. Don't have to worry so much. And the last topic that are going to come in front of us maybe is like this one, decision tree analysis. So basically, what is a decision tree analysis? Listen to me now carefully. A decision tree analysis is like, kind of you basically recreate the whole situation in the form of a decision tree. Okay, listen to me carefully, very carefully. You try to create the whole situation, okay, in the form of a decision tree. So what is the base of the decision tree analysis? They say that till now you were not talking about the impact of the this basically of any project in future. We were talking only on a stand-alone basis. मतलब एक बार project लगा दिया, खत्म हो गया, बात खत्म. बोलते हैं ऐसा नहीं होता है. Okay, because a project is like a sequence of events. Okay, so maybe if you put up a project, the effect of that project will continue in future also, on future projects also. So it is very, very important that we try to analyze the whole situation of capital budgeting in the form of a sequential process, and that can be done with the help of decision tree analysis. Okay, so you create the whole situation in the form of the decision tree. We get to have two kind of nodes. Okay, one node will be like this and one node will be circle. So when we get to decide whether to go this side or to go this side, we will use a square node. But there are some there are two types of situations that you can face in a decision tree. Number one, you need to take a decision. I should take this or I should take this. Then you will use a square node. And then there are events. ये भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है. This can happen, this can happen, this can happen, and you assign probabilities to that. Okay, so using these kind of things, you can analyze, and the method that we use in the decision tree is called backward induction method. Matlab, from right to left, you will solve. Okay, so at every square node, you will choose the best decision, like the maximum NPV option or the lowest cost option, and keep solving till the time you reach to the decision of the square node in the left side. Actually, that is decision tree analysis. Actually क्या है ना कि ये जो topic है decision tree का, ये theory में बात कर ही नहीं सकते. It has to be in the form of a sum only, and that is why it is so difficult to speak about decision tree. Okay, so quickly let's finish, guys. We are almost on the verge of completion, I'm sure. So till now we have discussed simple accept or reject decision. Okay, however, practically investment decisions may have implications for future or further investment decision and may also impact future decision and events. Okay, basically decision tree is a graphic display of the relationship between present decision and future events, future decision and their consequences. Okay. Then the approach assumes that there are only two types of situations that a finance manager has to face. The first situation where the manager has to control the power to determine what happens next. This is known as decision as to what he desires to do, whether to accept or reject or take which path. The second situation is where finance manager has no control over what happens next, the circle. This is known as event. Since the outcome of the event is not known, a probability distribution needs to be assigned to the various outcomes or consequences. So these are the steps, guys, they have given here. So I'm not reading that. पढ़ लेना तुम, क्योंकि तुमको बोर हो जाओगे. पढ़ने को तो मैं पढ़ दूँ, बट सब बोर हो जाओगे तुम. आगे दो टॉपिक और दिया है उन्होंने. एक टॉपिक है तुम्हारा रिप्लेसमेंट एंड एपीबी. सो बेसिकली रिप्लेसमेंट का तुमको मैं एक चीज़ लिख के दिखाती हूँ और उसके बाद तुम सॉर्टेड हो जाओगे. उसके बाद तुम मुझसे कुछ भी बोलोगे नहीं नहीं चाहिए मैम. रुक जाओ, होल्ड करो होल्ड करो होल्ड करो, भाग मत जाना, होल्ड करो. एंड गाइज प्लीज़, अगेन आई एम टेलिंग, प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब टू माई चैनल, प्लीज़ लाइक एंड टू द गिव योर लाइक्स एक्चुअली, आई मीन टू से, एंड प्लीज़ कमेंट ऑल्सो ना. मैं तो मुझे अभी सीख गई तो बोलती ही जाऊँगी. रिप्लेसमेंट डिसीजन, अगर मैं तुमको ये लिखा दूँ ना, इफ़ आई राइट दिस, यू आर एनी विच वे सॉर्टेड. सो इन द रिप्लेसमेंट डिसीजन ए, इनिशियल कैश फ्लो, डोंट लुक एट, इतना सारा नहीं चाहिए. इनिशियल कैश फ्लो विल बी कॉस्ट ऑफ न्यू मशीन माइनस पोस्ट टैक्स सैल्वेज वैल्यू ऑफ ओल्ड मशीन. नया मोबाइल खरीदोगे तो पुराना मोबाइल बेच करके जो पैसे आएंगे वो तो सेट ऑफ लोगे ना. बी, ऑपरेटिंग कैश फ्लो. व्हाट इज ऑपरेटिंग कैश फ्लो इन अ रिप्लेसमेंट डिसीजन? ओके, सो सपोज दे से दैट अ मशीन विल, द करंट मशीन का मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट इज रनिंग एंड मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट इज 50 lakh and the new will have only 20 lakhs per annum. So basically that is 30 lakh is your saving basically. Okay, that saving of 30 lakhs will become your EBDIT. I hope you understand that part. Do you understand that part? Okay, do you understand that part? Suppose, why would you replace? Because the cost of running the old machine is now becoming very high. So basically it means to say, suppose a new machine costs me, suppose like 50 lakhs per annum to run, the running cost is per annum and maintenance cost is per annum, but the new will incur only 20 lakhs. So 30 lakhs would be saved if I buy the new machine. So basically, but there is a problem. बहुत ध्यान से सुनना, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बोल रही हूँ. There is a trade-off. That means suppose the new machine will run for another 10 years, then you have to see whether a saving of 30 lakh per annum for 10 years is more, or the post-tax, this wala, initial cash flow is more. If you are able to save more than the initial cash flow, you will go for replacement. Okay, so incremental EBDIT 1 minus T plus incremental DTS means when you sell off the old machine, suppose 10 lakhs की machine block से बाहर हुई और minus and plus 50 लाख की machine अंदर हुई, तो तुम्हारा book value, okay, the addition to the block is 40 lakhs. So this 40 will be used for DTS. Okay. Then C. Okay. C will be post-tax salvage value of new machine. Okay. And minus post-tax salvage value of old machine. I don't know whether how many of you understand this or not. You know, many students say that ki ma'am, at the end of 10 years, I should take only post-tax salvage value of the new machine and not old machine. The answer is that this is the opportunity loss actually. तुमने ये मशीन पूरे पैसे दे के खरीदा था क्या? तुमने पुरानी मशीन से तो पैसा लिया था ना? तुमने पूरे कहाँ दिए पैसे? पूरे तो नहीं दिए तुमने पैसे. तो अगर तुमने खरीदने के लिए न्यू मशीन पूरे पैसे नहीं दिए, तो जब तुम सैल्वेज वैल्यू निकालोगे तो पूरा कैसे एंजॉय कर सकते हो? तब तुम पुरानी मशीन का लो, इन ऑर्डर टू हैव अ मैथमेटिकल कंपैटिबिलिटी. So we are done. This is replacement. It can be replacement of an export business with manufacturing. It can be a replacement of of a system which we do manually with the help of the machine. It can be a replacement of an old machine with a better technology. It can be any question of replacement. If you can manage these three, you are completely sorted in a replacement sum, and there are high probabilities that you are going to get a replacement sum in the examination, because this will be the first time after so many years in the new curriculum that you are going to get a question of capital budgeting. Guys, are you good? And if you are good, then we should definitely, people are waiting for questions actually. Ready? Are we ready for the questions? रेडी ऑल ऑफ यू? जल्दी जल्दी बोलो, आज बातें कम कर रहे हो तुम लोग. चलो तो खत्म हो गया, अब तो बोलो जल्दी. यस मैम, नो मैम, अच्छा लगा, खराब लगा, बहुत मजा आया, नहीं मजा आया, आप अच्छे हो, आप बुरे हो, जो भी बोलना है बोलो, कुछ तो बोलो. सी रिया इज सेइंग यस मैम, गुड मैम. कितना बोलेगी बेचारी वो, सब इतने सारे बच्चे लोगों को बोलो तो. थक गए तुम लोग बड़े टॉपिक्स में, इसलिए तो दैट इज वाई वी लीव थियरी ना, दैट इज वाई वी लीव थियरी. इट इज टायरिंग, इट इज रियली टायरिंग. प्रैक्टिकली इज मच मैनेजेबल एक्चुअली. वी कैन डू 20 questions more every chapter, but managing theory is very difficult. But I'm sure guys, some help it will have on your preparation. Okay, otherwise these are big chapters. अच्छा लगा, चलो बहुत अच्छी बात है. नहीं नहीं पूजा, शिवम आप बहुत अच्छे हो, तुम भी बहुत अच्छी हो. मैं तो तुमको नहीं जानती, बट तुम भी बहुत अच्छी हो. ओके, वेरी गुड. मिस्टर रेडी? मिस्टर होपलेसली इन लव. चलो वेरी गुड, चलो स्टार्ट. So the first question says that what is the name of the guy? Tell me, what is hopelessly in love? The name of the guy is Mr. Hopeless in Love. Okay. Prashant कहाँ गया? Where is Prashant? Mr. Hopelessly in Love recently learned that inflation is an important factor in capital budgeting decisions, and he thought of applying the concept while analyzing. Thank you. Application of inflation in capital budgeting decision means, careful, I don't want a single wrong answer, okay? हाँ, I don't want a single wrong answer. Nominal cash flows and nominal KC, nominal cash flows and real KC. बहुत मेहनत से बनाई हूँ, सच्ची बोल रही हूँ. ये सबसे टफ पार्ट हो जाता है मेरे लिए. This is the most difficult part that I do for myself, because they've not given any questions out there guys, and you know, preparing questions for every chapter I enjoy though. ऐसा नहीं I feel bored, but you have to like put a lot of head while creating the questions. Okay, answer please. Yes, answer please. Nominal cash flows and nominal KC, nominal cash flows and real KC, real cash flows and real KC, real cash flows and nominal KC. Application of inflation in capital budgeting decision means. Yes. वैसे I think C can also be, C can also, I can give you A and C. अभी बोलो. Now tell me. I think only, हाँ, till now actually answer can be A and C both. Answer can be A and C both actually, right? Basically nominal cash flows with nominal KC and real cash flows with real KC. So I think it can be both. So basically what you can do guys, what you can do, जिन्होंने 1 बोला वो भी A बोला वो भी सही है. Yeah, now we should take E actually. So answer should be नहीं रिया, बाय डिफॉल्ट नॉमिनल होगा वो सही है, but inflation in capital budgeting means that you should be using inflation adjusted cash flow with an inflation adjusted rate, or a real cash flow with a real rate. That is the exact meaning actually. So while maybe while preparing the question I missed out on that, but yeah, E should be the answer. हाँ लेकिन इफ, अच्छा ओके, दैट इज if E is not given, if E is not given, then definitely A should be the answer. Yes, that is correct. Nishant, it doesn't mean inflation adjustment doesn't mean inflation hona chahiye. It means your cash flows and your discounting factors should be compatible with each other. Nishant, did you understand? It does not mean that inflation hona hi chahiye. It means that while you are analyzing a capital budgeting decision, when you are computing NPV, they should be compatible with each other. But yes, if E option is not given to you, then we should go for A only. That is completely correct. Don't get confused. Okay? Either A or E. A is also a right answer if E is not given. If E is given, then E will be the right answer. Guys, are you fine all of you? बताओ प्लीज, आगे बढ़ूं मैं, इतना डिस्कशन नहीं चाहिए. हाँ हो सकता है, बिल्कुल हो सकता है. मैं वही बोल रही हूँ, इन्फ्लेशन एंड कैपिटल बजटिंग का मीनिंग ये नहीं होता इन्फ्लेशन होना ही चाहिए. दे आर सेइंग इन दोनों को कंपैटिबल होना चाहिए, कहने का मतलब. ओके, दैट वे. हाँ चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. नाउ this Mr. Hopeless also got to know that government policies are also important. Yes, Sandan, correct. A will be the answer. If E is not given, then A will be the answer. Correct है, बस बात खत्म हो गई है ना. This Mr. Hopeless also got to know that government policies are important factors and we just cannot ignore them. But he got confused between monetary policies and fiscal policies of the government. Guys, please answer carefully. The government lowers interest rates to make it cheaper for people and businesses to borrow money. In the short term, government may focus on the macroeconomic stabilization, for example, is expanding and spending or cutting taxes to stimulate or ailing economy. Please tell me, out of statement A is an example of fiscal policy or monetary policy? Please tell me. Statement A is an example of fiscal policy or monetary policy? Please tell me the answer. बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छे से पढ़ो दोनों सेंटेंस, उसके बाद आंसर करना. प्लीज भाग भाग के आंसर मत करना, ठीक है. द गवर्नमेंट लोअर्स इंटरेस्ट रेट्स टू मेक इट चीपर फॉर पीपल एंड बिजनेसेस टू बोरो मनी. मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, यस करेक्ट. मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, यस, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. हैं? Correct. So this is the moment you see tax, it has to be fiscal policy. Okay. The moment you see interest rate, it has to be monetary policy. Very good. Going ahead now, Mr. Hopeless met. Next question. Mr. Hopeless. Correct. B is fiscally. मुझे ये तो नहीं पता इसका आंसर मॉनेटरी होगा और इसका आंसर फिस्कल होगा. ये फिस्कल है, और ये मॉनेटरी है. ओके, नोटेड ना. ओके. द मोमेंट यू सी इंटरेस्ट रेट, इट हैज टू बी मॉनेटरी. द मोमेंट यू सी, वो देंगे ही देंगे तुमको, दे विल डेफिनेटली राइट दैट वर्ड इंटरेस्ट रेट. Okay, because monetary is related to money supply and money supply affects your interest rate. So interest rate word or money supply, monetary policy. Okay, then revenues, spending, taxation, fiscal policy. Please remember. The next one, Mr. Hopeless met Miss Hopeful. How is the name? Mr. Hopeless met Miss Hopeful in love and learned that risk would be an important factor to consider while analyzing projects. And since the projects are exposed to various degrees of risk, he needs to know about techniques of incorporating risk. Okay. Then dash careful. बहुत ध्यान से बात करना, ठीक है. और देखो यहाँ पे ये ऐसा है, देखो यहाँ पे स्टेटमेंट्स हैं, तो मैं नीचे आऊंगी, टेंशन मत लेना. Dash is a measurement of the degree of dispersion between numbers in a data set from its average. In a very simple words, it is the measurement of difference between the average of the data from every number of the data set. Yes, I am a girl, so the guys have to be hopeless and the girls need to be hopeful. I can't help, I belong to the community, guys, please. And I'm not against you at all. I love all of you. Okay, now, based on the above statements, answer the following questions. Again, coming back to this. So basically they are saying dash is a measurement of variance. Somebody said variance. Okay. Do you think the variance is your answer? Statement A, all of you. Which one should be the answer? Statement A means okay, which one is the answer? Please tell me which one is the answer quickly. Variance. Very good, very good, very good. Okay, then number 2, variance. Very good, that's very, very good. Okay, B. The use of this method is based on the concept that investors demand higher returns from risky projects. The required rate of return on any investment include compensation for delaying consumption plus compensation for inflation. Okay, क्या लिखा है? That the investors demand higher returns from the risky projects. The required rate of return on any investment should include compensation for delaying consumption, RF, plus inflation premium and plus, मैं और नहीं बोलूँगी, तुम आंसर बोलो अभी. Which one should be the answer? RADR method. Very good. RADR method. Risk statement 2 means RADR, variance, CEC or sensitivity analysis. Quickly guys, all of you. Some students are saying, ma'am, RADR method. Very good, RADR method. Yes, RADR method. Then C, it says it involves expressing risky future cash flows in terms of certain cash flows. Yes. मैंने हिंट नहीं दिया था चंदन, बिकॉज मैं बोलती तो तुम आंसर बोल देते. Yes, RADR method. Very good, very good. It involves expressing risky future cash flows in terms of certain cash flows which would be considered by the decision maker as their equivalent. That is, decision maker would be indifferent between risky amount and riskless amount, considered to be its equivalent. Answer please. बताओ भाई, इसका आंसर बताओ. अरे रे, कहाँ गया ये वाला? इसका आंसर बताओ जल्दी से, क्या होगा? What will be the answer for C? Yes, certainty equivalent coefficient method. Yes, very good, very good. अब देखो एक बात तुमको बोलूं, maybe like we tried hard because it's a lengthy chapter, but I'm sure guys something would go into your mind which is very difficult to, kind of, even I like when you are there because it is a theory thing. So when you participate, I also like it a lot because otherwise it is really boring for me. So please keep attending live sessions. It is a modeling and risk invest assessment procedure in which changes are made to significant variables in order to determine the effect of these changes on the planned outcome. Particular attention is thereafter paid to variables identified as being of the special significance. डी का आंसर क्या होगा? डी का आंसर बताओ क्या होगा? मैं क्या कर रही हूँ? Yes, life is fun. So, critical factors identification. What do you say? Which one should be the answer? Risk RADR, simulations, or sensitivity analysis? Which should be the answer? Sensitivity analysis, that's correct. Sensitivity. That means you identify critical factors that for your, which is like critical for your project, and then you keep, you do the sensitivity analysis with respect to each critical factor and try to see which one is the most critical for your project, which one is going to create the biggest problem for your project. Very good, very good. Now ICI questions. देखो यहाँ पे मैंने आंसर भी दे दिया है तुम्हारे लिए. ओके, नाउ विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग क्रिटिकल फैक्टर, which one, see, if you are not able to answer correct, it is completely okay, because any which ways we are doing as a learning session. We are not giving any exam that you have to know. Okay. Which of the following critical factor is generally overlooked by capital budgeting decision makers? Answer please. Which one? First sentence I spoke this. Which of the following critical factor is generally overlooked by capital qualitative factors? Very good. Very good. Qualitative factors. Yes, qualitative factors. Very good. Sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis is useful in decision making because it shows the probabilities associated with each outcome. We did not read any sentence of this kind. It tells the user how much critical each input is for the output value. Everybody is correct. Very, very good. It allows to calculate the probable results under different scenarios. No, it is in scenario analysis. The results of sensitivity analysis are reliable. No, they are not reliable. I think B should be the answer. Correct. So B should be the answer. नहीं आफरीन, probability कहाँ है बेटा आफरीन उसमें? It tells the user how much critical each input is for the output value. B should be the answer. Yes. Then the third one. Third one says the firm expects an NPV of 10,000 if the economy is exceptionally strong, 30%, an NPV of 4,000. Very good. All of you are very good. If the economy is normal, oh, it's very easy. करना क्या है? चलो निकालो फटाफट. This is 10,000, then 4,000 and 2,000. So 0.3 answer please. 0.3, 0.4 and 0.3. Answer is 5200. I didn't know. 10,000 into 0.3 store 0, 4,000. I'm using a 5200. Yes, this is the answer. Very good. Certainty equivalent approach is guaranteed return from an investment after adjusting for certainty equivalent coefficient, return that is expected over the lifetime of the project, no, equivalent to net present value, no, an important component, no. Which one is the answer? Question number 4 का answer क्या होगा? बोलो भाई. 4 का answer, somebody is saying A. Yes, correct. 5200 is the correct answer. 5200 is the correct answer. Yes, 5200. A is the answer. Yes. Many people are saying 4 ka answer is A, which is correct. Guaranteed return from an investment after adjusting for certainty equivalent coefficient. Yes, answer for 4 is A. Correct, correct, correct. Guys, good now. We are able to answer at least institute questions also. We have not gone to revise also. अभी तक तो तुमने revise भी नहीं किया है. बिना रिवाइज के अगर तुम अच्छा बोल रहे तो रिवाइज करोगे, देखो कितना अच्छा आ जाएगा ना. आई एम हैप्पी, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी. आंसर नहीं दिखाऊंगी. देन क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. व्हेन द रिस्क इज हाई द कैश फ्लोज व्हेन द रिस्क इज हाई द कैश फ्लो अंडर certainty equivalent coefficient is what? That is okay. That is okay, Chandan. That's completely okay. 5 का आंसर क्या होगा? When the risk is high. एक मिनट. Careful. When your risk is high, okay? Then your answer my question first. उसके बाद वहाँ जाना. When your risk is high, your certainty equivalent coefficient value will be low or high? Rohit, wrong. Wrong, beta, Rohit. No. This is why did I ask you this question? Now, 10,000, I'm saying risk is high. Risk high means risk-free amount will be less. Risk is high, that means, okay, give me 1 second. So, high, so CEC is 0.9. That means I'll get 9,000. No. अरे रे रुको. Low risk, okay. High risk, again 10,000. See, I will get lower, na? 0.5, I get only 5,000. So CEC value will be lower. When risk is high, CEC value, that means the equivalent amount will be lower. Yes. Chandan, are you good now? I'm saying when your risk is high, your CEC value will be lower. Now you'll get lesser equivalent, right? 5 का answer will be B. Yes. Write down this example. Chandan, write down this example. It will help you. I'm saying जब तुम्हारा रिस्क ज्यादा होगा तो पैसे रिस्क फ्री अमाउंट कम हो जाएगा ना तुम्हारा. या 5 का बी आंसर होगा, है ना? वो बात हो रही है. ये लिख लो ना एग्जाम्पल. सिनेरियो एनालिसिस इज कंसिडर्ड अंडर सिनेरियो सच एज all of the above. All the scenario analysis is considered under scenarios such as worst case scenario, base case scenario, best case scenario. Of course, answer will be D. 6 का answer D. And we are done for today's lecture. What is the time? What is the time, guys? All of you? I think it went well. I'm happy. It went well. Now, all of you who have not subscribed the channel, I'm telling this not to the live people. I'm telling to all of you who are going to watch in the recorded format. I am very angry with you. You did not come today for the lecture and I wanted this live session to be live. लेकिन तुमको मुझे भगा भगा के देखना, इसलिए तुम आए नहीं. कोई नहीं है, गुस्सा करके मैं जाऊंगी भी कहाँ. तो तुम लेकिन मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो प्लीज़, और लाइक करो और कमेंट भी करना. हाँ, अच्छे कमेंट करना, मुझे अच्छा लगेगा. चलो, डन. We are done for today. So we are meeting again on Friday with security analysis. Very, very theoretical chapter. Very, very theoretical. 30 pages of theory they have given there. Okay. And believe me, one of the case studies that has come in the RTP, one of the case studies that has come in the RTP, that is efficient market hypothesis, is based or taken from security analysis. That is the 4th chapter that we are going to do on Friday. Nishant is saying, are you aware, Nishant, there is some stock who are the richest people of India? Who are the richest people of India? And the guy is setting up a retail conglomerate for his daughter. Okay, but there is a company which the eldest son is handling. So keep collecting whenever it goes down. Keep collecting whenever it goes down. I cannot give you risky ideas here. Bye-bye, Ria. Bye-bye. Good night. Did you understand? Correct. So, no, not that company. Which company is being handled by the eldest son? Eldest son. The name of the company which we use daily on the mobile. The internet connection that you use on the mobile, the data, mobile data that you use. So it is going to be a big conglomerate actually, because they are in talks with many people like BlackRock and all. They're coming with the mutual funds and also. So you can keep collecting every time it goes down. Okay, you can keep in bulk and numbers, thousands, hundreds, how much you can. Correct, Megha Sheth. It's a good company. I will give you only tips which you can carry forward for next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. I cannot give you momentary tips. It's not a good idea because you are kids as of now. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Good night. Keep collecting. Don't buy when it goes up. When the day market goes down, buy 10. Again market goes down, buy 10. Don't buy the day market goes up. If the market is going down, that doesn't mean the Indian economy is going to, it is not going to collapse, okay? You will get a better, if you buy at lows, your returns will be better. Bye-bye.